everyone. Welcome to Jimmy John's Field here in Utica for another matchup between the Westside Woolly Mammoths and the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers. Alongside Jeremy Otto, I'm Jenna Rose here on the USPBL Network, but we love when you guys join us here. However, just come on down. It's Thirsty Thursday. We are presented by Budweiser today. Get some beers, have some fun, and watch some baseball. Now, here we're at an odd point in the season. You know, it's after the All-Star break. We also had, some players advance. We are currently in the absence of Jackson Hicks and Malik Barrington, arguably some of the aces from these two teams that are facing today. So, Jeremy, what is life after Hicks and Barrington?
Yeah, it's maybe tough for these teams, especially since there's not a lot of starters to be had in general, more bullpen arms just because of the situation. You know, not a lot of starts to be had just because of the games. We've talked about that in the past, and that bats and everything that goes into it with a 4-team league that plays all their games here at Jimmy John's Field. But at the same time, I guess starting with Barrington, you could say there's co-aces, I think, on a number of these teams, and maybe even starting to be that way with the Mammoths before Hicks left. But in the side of A.J. Coleman, you know, you could argue he is the ace of this team, given his responsibility as a veteran. You see him go out there at times as the pitching coach when he's not pitching and going for the mound visits, but certainly a veteran presence, a guy that knows what this league is, knows what the DVS tweaks are all about. So I think they'll be just fine with A.J. Coleman. Obviously, you never like to lose arms, and Malik Barrington was a good one, really starting to hit his stride right there, and it's awesome to see him move on. Kind of on the other side, in Hicks, you have seen the slow resurgence of Greg Lokinen, and slow in that because I guess it came from the bullpen now to starter, but he's been so good really since the first pitch of this USPBL season, worked his way into a starting role, and has really started to stretch himself out. I think they'll be looking for length here today without Hicks in the picture as well. We hear Johnny Bridenthal will get a start going forward as long as things remain the same for this Mammoths roster, which it sounds like it will. And on the other hand, Josh Hancock could be a guy that could be in the mix as well, a brand new face. He'll maybe get an inning out of the bullpen here tonight. So he's a guy that started a lot in college, but he'll start out of the pen, so as they kind of see what they have there.
Well, we definitely have lefty Greg Lokinen taking the mound for the Westside Woolly Mammoths, and as you mentioned, it's going to be right-hander A.J. Coleman getting the nod today. But breaking down that Beavers lineup, we have to talk about the offensive production from Christian LeBoy and Connor Bagneski. Through the last 5 games, they have a combined total of .468 at the plate for their batting average. Just walk us through why they've been so successful, Jeremy.
Yeah, LeBoy, I mean, I talked to Ed Campanella about that just a few minutes ago in batting practice, and he's a big component of, look, these guys got to get their at-bats. He's a guy that came straight from the NAI to the pro level here, so he had a good year there, kind of hit for average and for power. But at the same time, a little bit of different pitching, you think, coming to this level. So he's had a little bit of an adjustment period, really starting to turn the corner on a 6-game hitting streak. And on the other hand, Connor Bagneski has hit the ground running, like literally. I mean, you can't get any better from the plate. Probably the best start we've seen this year from an offensive perspective. Him and LeBoy kind of single-handedly picking up the pace for this Beavers offense, and it's a welcome sight for a team that struggled to hit at least.
Well, Bagneski certainly has the wheels. 4 stolen bases on the season so far in the short period of time, but diving deeper into the Beavers lineup. Leading off is going to be Keyshawn Lynch playing second base. Batting second out in right field will be Christian LeBoy. Batting third out in left will be Roy Verdejo. At first base will be Travis McFarland batting cleanup. Following him, batting fifth will be Connor Bagneski playing center field. At shortstop is Nefi Mercedes batting sixth. Batting seventh is Ron Williams Jr. At third base. Batting eighth is Collier Rutledge, who is the designated hitter. And catching, rounding up the lineup, will be Austin Shoemaker.
On the other side for the home Mammoths here today, their lineup also presented by AAA of Michigan. It's Logan Herring, who leads it off and plays first base. Trent Bauer bats second and plays left. Lamar Briggs, Trevor McKinley, and Colton Horner in the middle of John Dombrowski's and Taylor Jellikowski's lineup here today. Adrian Guzman bats sixth and plays position number 6. Once again, still hitting .300 despite struggling a bit in his last 5 games. Spencer McGee hitting 7th and playing third base. Nick Caruso will bat 8th and catch again here today. It's Norberto Navarro rounding things out at the second base position.
Beavers versus Westside Woolly Mammoths here at 7:05 p.m. You don't want to miss it.
repeating that you'll never fall in love. And everybody keeps retreating, but you can't seem to get enough. Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door to your heart. Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door to your heart.
Your neighbors are going to be jealous when they see you're getting a new Connecticut water system. Say goodbye to hard water problems. No more spots on your glassware. Your laundry will feel and smell better. Your hair and skin will look and feel better. Say goodbye to hard water problems and say hello to great tasting crystal clear water with CGC Water.
USPBL Baseball is presented today by Budweiser. And brought to you by the following sponsors: AAA, Ascension, Balfour Property Restoration, DTE Energy, Fifth Third Bank, Jimmy John's, Macomb Community College, McLaren Macomb, your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers, Pepsi, Scott's, Valpak, and UWM. We thank all those fine partners for what they do for this league. Getting ready for the Beavers and the Mammoths here today. Jeremy Otto back alongside Jenna Rose to bring you the call here today. Take a peek at our pitcher comparison brought to you by Ascension here today. We've talked about a lot losses quite a bit today in terms of the 4 arms that we lost, but these are 2 still really good ones still with us here today, Jenna.
Yes, absolutely, especially when you look on the left-handed pitcher Greg Lokinen side of things for the Westside Woolly Mammoths. 24 innings of work so far this season, notching 41 strikeouts, and he's going up against a Beavers lineup that has a combined total of 37 strikeouts through the last 5 games that they've played. So this could be an opportunity for Loken to continue on that goal, which he said is to exceed the amount of innings pitched when it comes to his strikeout total. But what we're going to see from him is his four-seamer, the use of a slider, changeup, and glimpses of that curveball. Lokinen is coming in with an ERA of 1.5. Looking over to the right-hander side of things, A.J. Coleman taking the bump for the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers, an ERA of 2.52, has only allowed 6 walks so far this season through 35.2 innings of work so far this season. We're going to see him use his two-seamer. That's his bread and butter, along with his curveball, and sprinkles in that changeup every now and then.
Certainly 2 guys that you look at that would be out of the realm of possibility to see them move on at some point. A.J. Coleman has been making quite a few tweaks since he's been here, and so is Greg Loken, and just small tweaks here and there to make him even better. And, you know, we talked about in the pregame show, Loken and A.J. Coleman going to be leaned on with Barrington and Hicks gone here today. And, you know, hearing, just kind of formulating from the coaching staff what different guys said and putting it all together, maybe a chip on some of these guys' shoulders here today because they didn't get picked up. Or maybe it's a calling card to say, hey, look, maybe I have to set my game up, or here's what I have to do to be the next guy to go.
This definitely brings the opportunity for more players to boost their stats, get more time on the mound, and as you said, a lot of players are making tweaks at this moment, which is very crucial as we head towards the half of the season.
It's the Beavers and the Mammoths coming up next here on the USPBL Network. Don't go anywhere.
about the promo that Jimmy's John's got going on? 5 off 20? How they pulling it off? Magic? You got David's Copperfields in there? Show yourself, Copperfields!
Jimmy John's. $5 off orders of 20 or more.
Attention, Michigan, there is absolutely no need to drive all over town searching for new flooring. When the Carpet Guys will come to your house on your schedule, we'll bring our store to your door so you can shop in the comfort and privacy of your own home. And you'll love our huge selection. Buy right now with interest-free financing for up to 4 years. You can carpet your entire home for as little as $11.99 per month. Let the Carpet Guys take the stress out of buying new flooring. Call for a free in-house shopping experience today.
Be wise, call the Carpet Guys at 855 for my guys.
I'm all in with HR and Organizational Development Council.
I'm all in with Marketing and Business Development Council.
I'm all in with Operations and Member Experience Council.
I'm all in with CEO Council.
I'm all in with Lending Council.
I'm all in with CFO Council.
I'm all in with Technology Council.
Our credit union is all in with CUNA Councils.
They call me Prospects. Since the day I was born as a diver's watch, the challengers of the world have taught me many things. Life is not a numbers game. It's about challenging ourselves. No matter what happens, just follow your heart. These pioneers drive our generation forward. Not by setting records, but by never giving up. Keep going forward. Prospects.
Available at Lucido Fine Jewelry.
Jeremy and Jenna back with you here from Jimmy John's Field. Greg Lokinen climbing atop the hill, four-seam fastball, slider, changeup for him coming into today. Certainly excited to see what he can bring.
I mentioned it previously when we talked about the pitcher comparison. He said it was a goal of his to make sure that the amount of strikeouts that he has at the end of the season exceeds the amount of innings pitched, and so far he's on great track to do so with the amount of strikeouts he has right now, 41 strikeouts in 24.
You know, in the past he's talked about his fastball velocity as well because it averages 87 and is topped out at 90 coming into play here today. He thinks overall the pitch has been really good for him, and it shows via the numbers as well, but he still would like to get that velo up. But the thing he said, which I thought was very interesting and, you know, something that's certainly very important for a guy who doesn't throw 92, 93 on the regular, he says he throws it with a lot of conviction, and he throws it like, you know, with the confidence that he's throwing 99 miles an hour, and he thinks that that is the key to him getting the amount of strikeouts. And for any guy that throws, you know, maybe low or high 80s to low 90s, that can be an important thing. So something that I really haven't heard from a guy in the league before, and I thought it was an interesting point.
It definitely is, and just looking at guys trying to get to the next level, specifically with Loken, and you're talking about his velocities, it's also important that he's not a two-pitch pitcher. We, along with his slider, will see his changeup and curveball with that four-seam, so it's very important that he can use multiple pitches from his bag of tricks.
Keyshawn Lynch, Chris LeBoy, Roy Verdejo, your Zach Hart agency, three-men due up here in the first inning. Keyshawn Lynch coming into today with an average under 100. You look further into the numbers for a guy that's hit well in pro ball before. I mean, he hit 300 in his first professional year. Batting average in balls in play this year, 135. Which in general, for a guy that can hit the ball hard, you just watch his batting practice, clubbed a few well out of the stadium here today, generally indicates you're hitting into some bad luck. Even his manager kind of backing those thoughts and saying, look, he's hitting it right at guys. He's hitting it very hard. He just hasn't had any luck so far this year.
Well, hopefully Lynch can find some luck here today going up against Greg Loken, and right now he hasn't been able to record a hit against a lefty.
Now the 1-2 sliced in for strike three. The fastball below the knees at 88. One up and one down, and Lokinen continues what's been a hot pace in terms of strikeout rate. It's now up to 15 coming into play here today. Walks per nine at 4. And if he wants to take that to the next level, probably would love to get to 3, 2.5. That's kind of the benchmark for Ks per nine and walks per nine. In terms of Ks per nine, that's ungodly in terms of what he's done so far.
Definitely a threat in the box now. Stepping in is Christian LeBoy, averaging .470 for his batting average through the last 5 games played.
6-game hitting streak as we see Lokinen trip off the rubber there. Yeah, 10 for 20. Jenna talked about it. Just 1 walk and 1 strikeout. And for a guy who has 4 walks to 11 Ks this year, that's a big deal as well, and showing that he's really turning things around. But if you can get LeBoy going, if you can get Keyshawn Lynch going, Verdejo has shown some flashes over the last couple games. We already talked about what Bagneski has done in the pregame show. But if you're facing a guy like this, it might not matter how good you're rolling.
Well, for today's game, when we're looking at the Beavers lineup, it's definitely going to come down to plate discipline and just getting the barrel on the ball, putting the ball in play, and see what that defense can do as you're heading down to first.
Nurio Donato says hello from Argentina. I'm not sure we've had Argentina before, so that's cool. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in here today on the USPBL network. Here's the 1-0. Sliced into Verdejo for strike 1. And I know I just said slider at the beginning for Lokinen, but we talked to him before the game last time, and he confirmed he's actually not thrown 1 slider this year as Verdejo pokes it away. It has kind of slider movement to it, more tight than the 12-6 break, but he said as much. Hey, I don't really care if you think it looks like a slider, just call it a slider. But regardless, it's been a pretty good pitch for him. Here's the 1-2. Maybe a broken bat there. McGee spinning around, fires to first. And that's a 1-2-3 breeze of an inning for Greg Lokinen here in the first. Sets down Lynch, LeBoy, and Verdejo, picking up right where he left off as the new ace to this team. Time for your sweetheart of the game, presented by Thrifty Florist. There she is in Beavers attire here today. JJ enjoying the pets down there. Look at that dog.
A little salty I haven't gotten flowers from JJ yet, but I think I need to let it go.
Well, I don't know. Maybe saying something makes something happen here today. Your Thrifty Florist sweethearts of the game. We thank Thrifty Florist for their partnership with the USPBL. Back with more after this here on the USPBL network.
Whenever my family wants to enjoy the great outdoors, we pack up my Chevy Blazer and go camping in style. It looks great, and with the cargo management system, we can bring all the comforts of home away from home. Plus, with available 4G LTE Wi-Fi, the kids can still stay connected with friends. Thanks to my Blazer, roughing it isn't rough at all.
Lease a 2021 Blazer 2LT for just $219 a month. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
A.J. Coleman back in the bump here for the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers. He will face Logan Herring, Trent Bauer, and Lamar Briggs, your Zach Hart Agency 3-men due up here in the first. A.J., we've talked about it, his ground ball percentage up to 46% coming into the game here today. That's significant. Kind of hanging around 40 to 42 to 43% thus far, but he's improved that even from last game. His last outing on Saturday did not give up an earned run through 5 innings of work. 1 unearned run, 3 hits given up, 1 walk, and 4 Ks through 77 pitches of work. He's at least reached the mid-70s in terms of pitches in his last 5 outings. And they'll look for that length again here today.
In previous conversations with Coleman, he's saying that one of his favorite things about baseball as a pitcher is how individualistic that side of the game can be, but at the same time, he does rely on his defense and offense, which brings back that team aspect of the game, but he does all that he can from the mound.
A fastball that's going to average around 87, which is a tick up from last year's average. Herring punches it foul. We've already seen improvements from this left-handed bat. Taylor Jellikowski said it last week. Looks better and better every game. We've told his story quite a bit so far this year. A guy that took literally a month off of baseball because he thought his career was over after college. Had a nice run to the NAIA World Series this year. In the end, he finds himself in professional baseball and having to wrap up baseball activities again. Quickly 0-2. Change up outside. Fastball, curveball change as well for AJ. That fastball 67.5% of the time. The curve 24% and change at 8. 1-2, another fastball. Lynch is there to dig it up. 1 up and 1 down.
That's going to be most of what we see during today's game, Jeremy, those hard ground outs, given that, as you talked about earlier, that Coleman is notorious for inducing those.
Check the defense behind AJ today, brought to you by AAA of Michigan. It's Verdejo and left, Bagneski in center, LeBoy in right. Ron Williams Jr. on the corners, along with McFarland and Lynch and Mercedes. Your double play combination here today with Shoemaker behind the dish. First pitch to Trent Bauer. Another changeup away. 1-0. Changeup usually hanging around 80 miles an hour for AJ. That one dusted off the plate outside. 2-0 now. Lamar Briggs would be next, then Trevor McKinley. Your Zach Hart agency, 2 men after Bauer here. 2-0, fluttered its way to left. Verdejo all the way to the warning track for the second out there.
Nice run by Verdejo over in left field. You can see Bauer definitely can generate a lot of power in his swing, has the ability to spray it to all fields, but just a bit underneath it there.
So a snappy start for both of these pitchers here today. Lokinen in the first inning, strikeout, ground out. Made pretty easy work of Lynch, LeBoy, and Verdejo. And Coleman looking to do that in a little bit of a different variety. Pitching to contact to begin today's game as Briggs looks at a 88-mile-an-hour fastball outside. Lamar, 327 average, 564 slugging. It's been the real deal really since those adjustments a month or so into his second year here in the USPBL.
Briggs is definitely one of the major offensive threats on this Westside Woolly Mammoths lineup. He's currently hitting .405 against right-handed pitchers, so I'm sure we're going to be seeing some action here pretty quickly.
3-0 away. Briggs able to draw the walk. Well, the international offense, or audience, continues to unfold. Raul says, let's go Roy Verdejo here today. I'm your big fan, watching from Mexico. Jones says he's watching from Warren, Michigan here today, not too far from the ballpark in Metro Detroit. And now Trevor McKinley. Look to get things going here with 2 outs. Everybody back defensively. Mercedes the closest, along with McFarland over at first. Scurrying to second is Briggs. Can't swerve around and make the tag, and Lamar able to swipe another bag for the Mammoths here.
Briggs is definitely one of the faster players in the league, especially when we talk about Connor Bagneski for the Beavers. He's definitely someone who stands out, who has wheels.
So that's now 20 stolen bases and 21 attempts for the Mammoths this year. adding to what's been a very solid total. 67 steals, just 8 caught stealings in the whole league put together. Solid curveball according to the spin there from Coleman as he's ahead of McKinley 0-2, trying not to worry much about Briggs at second here. Just got a piece.
After that walk, we can see that Coleman is definitely dialing his way back into the strike zone. 0-2 count.
.35 2/3 innings of work for Coleman coming into play here today. All of them being starts, with the exception of the one relief appearance in the All-Star game, which doesn't ultimately reflect on his final stats or anybody's in the league. Exhibition, just like at any other level. Another changeup from AJ. We've been seeing a few more changeups here in the first inning than we're used to, as that fastball jumps in at 90. Outside. Flight scope had it at 90. The scoreboard had it at 91. 91 is the high from AJ this year. 2-2 in for strike three. Dust him off with the 89-mile-an-hour fastball. And the only thing separating Coleman from a clean inning was the walk, as Briggs remains stranded at second.
Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door to your heart.
I'm all out of love for my old insurance. Switch to insurance. They're saving me so much. They covered my car and bundled with my home. I feel so secure to say I love insurance.
Hello, AAA Insurance.
Goodbye, insurance. Hello.
Insurance.
Get a quote and save up to 20%.
Taking a look at the Caribbean Blue Band here today on it's 5 o'clock somewhere day at Jimmy John's Field. We thank you for tuning in here today, and we want to see you at the ballpark. Still 3 more days of baseball, 4 games in total this week. You can head to uspbl.com for tickets. Also walk up or check social media for a direct link to tickets for games, but a Friday fireworks day tomorrow with a 7:05 Eastern start. Saturday doubleheader. And then Kids Day on Sunday. Travis McFarland, Connor Begneski, and Nafi Mercedes, your Zach Hart agency 3-men due up here in the second. Quick work for Lokinen of this Beavers lineup in the first. Strikeout, ground out. Coleman looking pretty sharp in his first inning of work as well, as that fastball in at 87 for strike one.
McFarland is looking to tone back on his aggressiveness at the plate. He currently leads the league in strikeouts at 24.
Here's the 0-1. Hit something there. Was that just the glove of Caruso? Anyway, evens the count at 1-1. Certainly could be a dangerous middle of the order if he, along with Nafi Mercedes, gets rolling. Ron Williams Jr. has that veteran presence in this lineup as well, hitting in the lower half today. That fastball in at 86 for strike two. 2-2 quickly on McFarland now. Curveball in. Loken, another guy, likes to establish that tempo. Both him and Coleman like to work very quickly.
McFarland stays alive, fouling it off. Looks like Loken was trying to work him inside.
We need to get an analytic on his gum chew per minute as well. This one fouled back to the screen. Everybody back with no outs and nobody on. The full count delivery. McFarland draws his 9th walk of the year. Now Connor Bagneski will try to continue what he's done. Just 6 games in the USPBL. He's had a hit in 5 of the 6. And the one game where he did not get a hit, he had 3 walks. That's just kind of his start to his pro career in a nutshell.
Has a batting average of .471, hitting .466 through the last 5 games.
Fastball at 90 outside. And not only is he reaching on base because of hits at a high clip, 8 for 17, but is also walking at a very nice clip compared to his strikeouts. 6 walks to 1 K. Curveball low. 2-0 on Connor Bagneski.
Even though it's early in the game, this could be an opportune time for the Beavers, given that such a high on-base percentage from Bagneski. He's been able to put the ball in play, and having a runner on first could be lethal.
McFarland with a 1-step lead over there. Another fastball ranging outside. 3-0 on Bagneski. So we talked about the walks to strikeouts earlier from Lokinen as well. Now 12 walks to 42 Ks. Trying to work himself all the way back in the count here to Connor. It's now 3-1. A lot of spin for Lokinen and Coleman really on their fastball and curveball. 3-1, just away maybe. Back-to-back walks to begin this second inning. And that's something that Lokinen talked about before his last start in terms of falling behind hitters. It was something he was sort of annoyed with that he had done so far this year. Gave up 6 walks in his last game. But that was after a no-walk and 8 strikeout performance the start before that. He threw by far his most pitches, 106, last Thursday, a week ago. Certainly doesn't draw ground balls as much as Coleman will, but still a decent clip of 30% for a guy who strikes out a lot of batters. Won't be out of the realm of possibility for him to get a twin killing here. That's nasty.
You touched on it earlier just with how confident that Lokinen is with his timing. We can tell in the way that he sets up in his rhythm before he delivers the pitch. And hopefully he can dial back into that groove that we saw in the first inning with the back-to-back strikeouts and a ground out.
0-2, popped him up. It is going to reach the outfield. Bauer. Rifle is in for the first out. It was pretty sunny earlier, but now it's very hazy, if you want to describe it as that. Some just kind of stretched out clouds above us here today, not very billowy. But you were talking about it yesterday off the air. I actually heard this from a friend, too, even before you said it. The haze is because of fires? Is that what you said?
Yeah, so it's a side effect of the wildfires that have been happening over on the west side. So I'm not sure how that works in the sky weather-wise, but that's why we've been having all this rain.
First pitch to Williams Jr. High, 1-0. Yeah, the person that told me said take a look at the satellite images, or I guess that would be the proper term, and it's pretty apparent. Like, you can see it. Noticeable here in the later parts of today as that one flies over the Mammoths dugout down the left field line. Jeremy Otto alongside Jenna Rose to bring in the call here today. So glad you could tune in on your Thursday evening, wherever you may be watching. 7:28 Eastern here in Utica, Michigan. 1-1 is foul, but to that point, it's very comfortable out there compared to what it's been in the last month or so in the area.
Yeah, during the pregame, I believe it was yesterday, I felt like I had to squint because of how the sun was shining down on us.
73 degrees at game time here today. It'll be 78 tomorrow, 79 on Friday. That is tomorrow, sorry. 84 on Saturday, 89 on Sunday. So it heats up a bit as the week goes on. 2-2 on Ron Williams Jr. And Caruso maybe in between pitches there. Not sure what Lokinen was throwing, as those two will discuss. Allows McFarland and Bagneski to advance to second and third.
Just goes to show how important it is to command your pitches and hit the strike zone with runners on.
So no hits on the board for either of these two teams, but a combined 3 walks. The first 2 by Lokinen here in the second, and they're in scoring position all of a sudden with the 7th place hitter up. Curveball high. And there's the 3rd walk for Collier Rutledge. I was talking to Taylor Jellikowski before the game here today. Obviously the co-manager of the Westside Woolly Mammoths now, but he played in this league, moved on to the Minnesota Twins organization. Talked about it yesterday. 4 guys moving on, 4 pitchers to the Twins this year. He says they're all heading to rookie ball over in the Twins organization. And Jelly said as much that rookie ball in Florida, where they're going to be headed, is like just spring training all year long. You work out to begin the day, then you have a couple-hour break, and then you're playing a game, and then you do it again, and you do it again. And he says you work out earlier because the hot sun is at its peak in the Florida area around 4 or 5. So maybe a little bit of a different regimen for those guys heading to what could be an everyday type workout. For a pitcher, probably a bit different than what a position player would go through, but still at the same time, you hear it a lot. There's quite a few Florida guys around. They say, oh, this weather's nothing. I think Willie Martin said it as much, who still lives in Florida in the offseason. Our buddy, the director of player development here at the USPBL, has filled in a couple times on the air. Fly ball to right, club to McKinley, and that baby's going to get down and fair. 2 runs already around. They're going to hold the third at third base. Collier Rutledge slams the 6th and 7th RBI of his career here in the USPBL, and the Beavers up 2-0.
Nice work by Rutledge up at the plate. It's definitely been time for him. He's due at the plate, 2 for 12 in the last 5 games played, 4 strikeouts. So to boost that 150 average and to do some damage is very crucial, not only for his confidence, but to get this game rolling. 2-0 Beavers.
Now Austin Shoemaker trying to keep the line moving. Walk, walk, line out, walk, double. The line against Lokinen here in the second. Ooh, Shoemaker trying to sneak in a bunt. Safety squeeze as Ron Williams Jr. remained on third base. as opposed to the suicide squeeze where that runner would bolt. Curveball in for strike 2 at 75. Williams on third, Rutledge on second. 2-0 lead for the Beavers. Another curveball, punching its way a bit more outside that time from Lokinen. One-two, Shutter to the right. Navarro log jamming that as he heaves it over to first base. Ron Williams Jr. scoring. This is some pretty good offense by the Beavers here in the second.
It definitely is. It is nice to see some hitting here for the Beavers, given that what we've seen from them in the past so far, but that can be dangerous, allowing runners to get on base with the amount of walks that Lokinen has had so far this inning with 3.
Seventh batter to the plate after a 1-2-3 inning. Coleman faced just 4 batters as he sits for a little bit of a longer time as well. Well, we saw a complete bullpen day from the Unicorns last night. They used 5 arms in what ended up being an 8-inning game after the 2.5-hour time limit was in play. Hopper is using 3, but I think both of these managers would like to see some length here today if possible. The 1-0. Big cut by Lynch as he nicked it back.
Always curious to see what batters can do when it comes to their second time around through the order, given that they've already seen Lokinen. He's seen how other pitchers, or excuse me, how other batters have handled it. I can't talk today, Jeremy. How other batters have handled Lokinen so far this inning.
1-1 again, tipped into the glove. And it's an opponent's batting average for Lokinen coming into today at a slim 105. And you speak to that point, it doesn't get any easier, usually, for them the second time through. 1-2, oh wow, that's a tough curveball that Lynch kind of backed out of the way of it. What can you do with that one slicing in from the left-handed arm to your hand side? But anyway, Lokinen first time through with an opponent's average of 102, second time .083, and the third 100. And here, that remains the same as Keyshawn Lynch flies it out to center field. Beavers don't go quietly, though. They send 7 to the plate and score 3 off 3 walks here on the USPBL Network.
When people keep repeating that you'll never fall in love, when everybody keeps retreating, but you can't seem to get enough. Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door to your heart. To your heart.
We joined Green Path and instantly felt a support around us.
They developed a plan on paper, and this is how we're going to do it.
The plan that they gave me was something that was sustainable. It was something I could do. It was actually lowering my payments monthly by hundreds of dollars.
Choosing Green Path is a no-brainer.
Five, 6, 7 due up here in the bottom of inning number 2. It's Colton Horner, Adrian Guzman, and Spencer McGee. Your Zach Hart Agency 3-men due up. So no hits on the board for this Mammoth squad. Coleman, through 1 inning of work, has walked 1. Other than that, 3 outs, a ground out, a line out, and a strikeout. Lokinen with a bit of an uncharacteristic inning. Walks have been the bugaboo for him in his last 2 starts. It's now 8 walks to 6 strikeouts combined. Here today, 3 walks to begin the second with a line out mixed in between that. All 3 walks scored. 2 RBI double by Collier Rutledge and the RBI ground out by Austin Shoemaker. Was able to punch in a third. Kind of very similar to what it felt like later in the game last night for the Unicorns. Luska, Johnson, Olch all walking to begin the 5th, and they all scored in what was a huge inning and a come-from-behind victory for the Unicorns.
That was a nice poke by Horner. We can see why he's the perfect candidate, number 1, for that designated hitter position and to be batting 5th in this lineup. He's hitting just under 500 heading into today's game after the last 5 games. Batting average is 4th in the league at .333. He's able to get on.
Home run for Horner leading into today as well. Adrian Guzman looks at a pitch outside as Austin Shoemaker gets an E-pad on that.
It's been interesting watching where Guzman has hit in the lineup so far this season. I feel like we've seen him at the top, the bottom, in the middle, but he just brings professional at-bats every time he steps into the box. So for this Westside Woolly Mammoths team, it really is beneficial to have someone you can trust at any spot.
Yeah, and certainly versatile, obviously, from what you just said. You know, kind of hitting everywhere in the order, but he has brought a little bit of pop. He's brought some good on base with 9 walks to 10 strikeouts, and also brings some speed. That's kind of why you've seen him both at the top and at the bottom. Taylor Delikowski and John Dombrowski at times looking to use him as a guy to turn over the lineup when they hit him 9th. And way ahead in the count, 3-0. Away for ball 4.
Speaking of how Guzman can bring in a professional at-bat, he does have a veteran-like plate discipline. And, you know, those skill sets, they can't even transfer over to what he is at shortstop. He's one of the best shortstops in the league here. He has the range, he has the eye, and the ability to field those ground balls.
So the middle of the infield here, looking for a double play. Different start to this inning for Coleman. Some contact with the single, and then a 4-pitch walk to Adrian Guzman, and that's just something we haven't seen from A.J. hardly at all this year. Came in with just 6 walks to 28 strikeouts. Now 7 to 29 when you add today's numbers. 1-0, right back at him, bobbled it over to first, and a good job to stay with that for the only play he had in the end.
That just goes to show you, has a quick reaction time there on the bump, seeing as though those balls come up pretty quick up the middle, but to stay with it, make the throw over at first, that's very crucial. And it seems as though so far this season, Coleman has been able to work his way out of some sticky situations. So looking at the amount of outs right now, only at 1, maybe he can work his way through it.
And if Coleman handles that cleanly, he probably spins and throws to second. We've seen that athleticism, whether he bolts off the mound on a bunt or just a swinging bunt, like we've seen various times this year down the first or third base line. First pitch fastball runs way in to Nick Caruso, 1-0. Norberto Navarro, your Zach Hart agency man on deck here in the second. He's the bottom of the order today. Righty on righty, the 1-0. Fastball in at 88.
I always enjoy watching those pitcher-catcher matchups whenever they step into the box, because when you think about the amount of balls that they've seen from that angle, realistically, as being a catcher, I feel like that very much helps as a batter.
And certainly for a guy who has seen most of these pitchers, if not all of them, on the other side, just watching, if you're Colton Horner / Nick Caruso. Caruso obviously a bit newer to the league than Horner. 1-2 away. We've heard about how Colton Horner used to game plan specifically with Jackson Hicks. They would launch, the broadcast at times when their team wasn't playing the other, getting ready for how they were going to attack hitters. 2 away. AJ not exactly like that in terms of how he comes into a game. Doesn't really prepare specifically to attack hitters, just looking to play to his strengths. Three and 2 on Caruso now. Trying to strand a couple runners is Coleman. Wow, that's a hot shot down the third base line and foul.
Well, that's why they call third base hot corner for a reason. Pulled foul, but I mean, just the exit velos we see sometimes off the bat going near the pull side for right-handed batters can be pretty intense.
That's surprising that he broke his bat too, because he got some good wood on it. So snatches a new one. This one a bit more lighter and blonde.
Gosh, have you ever swung a wooden bat, Jeremy?
A few times, yeah.
To me, they just feel so heavy. Maybe it's because for softball you use a drop 10, but
No, I'm with you. 3-2 is high as Caruso chugs to first base. We used to have this bat that we found at a garage sale. It was a honker. It was like, 35, 36 inches. And at times we just fool around and try to hit a wiffle ball with it. Use it as our, bat before we came up to bat.
well, I'm sure JJ could handle it.
Probably
He's
could,
a pro
yeah.
down there.
Norberto Navarro comes to the plate with the bases full with just one out. His team could use some runs. They just gave up a 3 spot in the top half of this inning. Logan Herring lurking on deck. He's the top of the order. Coleman did pretty good work against the top 4 in the lineup back in the first. 0-1 over to first. What a stop by McFarland. Lunges out and saves a run as Coleman again has to work his defense over to first base that time. Horner scores. It's 3-1 now.
Good work on Coleman's end to get over to first base quickly. Seemed to have to be like a quick reaction play over there on the right side of the field.
Well, with Guzman running from second base, that could have saved a run. Probably would have depended how quickly it went to LeBoy in right, who has a pretty good arm. Logan Herring is now the 6th man to the plate here in the second. These Mammoths trying to echo a little bit of what the Beavers did to them on the other half. Most of that damage came via the 3 walks. The big blow in this one, a 2 RBI double. Maybe we have one here. All the way to the gap it goes. It will score 2. Herring to second base easily. And just like that, we're back to square one.
Just looking at Herring's swing, you can tell that he has the ability to send the ball. He can send it to all different sides of the field, but right there was exactly the kind of hit that you want with runners in scoring position in the gap.
And just a beautiful swing for where that ball was placed. The 88-mile-an-hour fastball tailing away from the left-hander there. And after what was 2 pretty clean innings for both of these pitchers, 1-1-2-3 for Lokinen, a single walk for Coleman, a bit unclean. Here in the second as we have a tie score all of a sudden at 3 apiece. Mercedes over to McFarland for the 3rd out. So 7 batters come to the plate, 3 score all earned here in the second inning off of AJ. Going to stay with you here this inning as you take a look again at the Caribbean Blue Band out in the Michigan Schools and Government Credit Union soundstage out there. Reminder, you can chime in with us on Facebook and YouTube. Maria Briggs, Ryan Lenowitz, Jay Muddum have all said hello here today. Natalie Verdejo chimes in as well. Aaron Mazurek, a big Travis McFarland fan. And Greg Lokinen looking to straighten things out a bit here in the third inning. We told you he went 106 pitches in the last contest, so probably not that concerning that his pitch count a little higher than he would like here in the third, but 3 walks were the killer. McFarland, Bagneski, and Williams all drew base on balls, and all 3 of them scored. RBI double, 2 of them by Collier Rutledge, and then the ground out to Austin Shoemaker played in the third round. On the flip side, the Mammoths were able to answer that right back with a pair of walks themselves and a 2 RBI double by Logan Herring. We just keep seeing better and better at bats by Herring. And that's a guy with some major pop. I mean, we talked about it, 20 home runs in college this year, hitting at the top of this lineup today for Taylor Jellikowski and John Dombrowski. I have a feeling that he's another guy who could hit all over the order to some extent. Miguel Sereno says, can you guys say hello to me? Well, hello, Miguel.
Hi, Miguel.
You're not working the food and beverage category here today. Maybe a night off for Miguel Sereno, but we thank you for tuning in here today. He says, go Unicorns on the Facebook stream. He's off to a good start as well. Did not see him last night, but the Unicorns play 2 more times this week, so I'm sure at some point we may even see a start by Miguel. 2.25 ERA. 11 appearances and 5 starts this year. LeBoy, Verdejo, McFarland, your Zach Hart agency 3-men due up here in the third inning for the Beavers. LeBoy struck out in the first. Hard ground ball to Guzman here in the third for the first out.
We've talked about it before. Guzman just has that professional presence in the box, and they're out at shortstop. Definitely a key member of this Westside Woolly Mammoths team. That has to be a confidence boost for Lokinen to get out a batter like LeBoy, which, as we said, is a threat combined with Bagneski here in this lineup.
Curveball in to Roy Verdejo. He also grounded out to the left side of the infield in his first at-bat. The lights are on. They've been on pretty much for the whole game so far here today. At this point yesterday, the outfielders were just, if they choose to use shades, were trying to shield themselves from the sun.
Well, on overcast days like this where it's a little misty and the clouds are white, I always wondered how it was for outfielders playing baseball because, granted, the ball is white. Like, I'm used to this neon green softball giant thing coming at me. But it seems as though they're managing well on those instances where we've seen those pop flies go in between the middle infielders and outfielders. They've been communicating, so I'm assuming can't be too rough.
2-2 in for strike 3. Greg Lokinen with his first K since the first inning is 3 in total.
I love how you noted earlier, Jeremy, just the confidence that he throws that fastball. I can't remember the exact word that you used. Conviction. Yeah. There it is.
But it's important, right? I mean, it makes sense in that if you're not throwing 99, you have to feel like you have the same confidence of the guy that throws 99. Is that one golf just foul? To a certain extent, I think you still have to be smart with it, right? You're not going to be able to blow it by maybe in certain spots like you would if you're Justin Verlander and throwing and dialing up to 97 at the end of games or something like that. But Lokinen's ball also has a lot of movement on it. And that's the scary thing about a lot of these fastballs these days. And, you know, maybe the term spin rate is overused or analytics in general are overused in baseball these days. But it puts it into perspective along with seeing it. Like, yeah, this guy's fastball, in addition to, running up there for some guys at 91, 93, it also has above average spin and movement to it. Just makes it that much harder to hit. 1-2 as Lokinen looks to punch his second 1-2-3 inning in the day. The even pitch. Chopped fouled again. Looking forward to our conversation with Shane McCaddy after the top of the first inning, the pitching coordinator here at the USPBL. Gonna hit on a lot of, in terms of the guys that moved on yesterday, kind of how they got there, some tweaks that they made, but certainly some current guys in the league and what they need to do to get to that point as well. And Lokinen will punch in and punch out here in the third inning. His second 1-2-3 bid, strikes out another batter, his third here in the third. It's your fifth third out of the game, brought to you by Fifth Third Bank here today. And now time for JJ, the field general, presented by Michigan First Credit Union. There's JJ. That baseball basket out to your base pass umpire with the water here today as well. And now we'll play a little Frisbee.
I wish my dog Jack was like JJ.
What kind of dog is Jack?
Well, Jack is an Australian Shepherd, so he should be pretty hyper, but he's a little well-fed. So can't get around as smoothly as JJ can, as we see him running around out in the outfield. But, I get a dog when I go to work, and then I get a dog when I go home. So I honestly shouldn't be complaining at the end of the day, right?
That's true.
Not everyone has a dog in the workplace.
Here's your DTE Energy Kid Raise the mascot. It's Wooly here today, toe-to-toe, going against a Unicorns fan here today. And that young man chugging down the third base line, maybe feeling a bit bad for Wooly as he makes it extra close and able to touch home plate there. There you go. Your DTE Energy Kid Race the mascot.
Wooly running does look similar to Jack running.
Yes?
Yes.
Maybe he's a Mammoths fan, A.J. Coleman back out there for his third inning of work. He'll face the middle of this Mammoths order. 7 hitters came to the plate against Coleman in the second. Gave up a single, a walk, and a walk with 1 out mixed in between, but all of those runs scored, even with 2 outs, as a 2 RBI double was ripped by Logan Herring to the opposite way. Gap in left center field. Briggs was the lone man to reach in the first inning via walk against A.J. Coleman. So not only was it surprising to see him walk Briggs on a 3-0 pitch, surprising to see 2 more walks in the next inning. I mean, that's already half of his total that he had entering the game. Swing and a miss on that one by Briggs.
There was a point in time where Briggs just kept on putting the ball in play against Coleman, having long at-bats, and Coleman just jokingly said, "Can you just hit it over the fence or swing and miss?" So it's nice to see that, even though, these players are on different teams, they can still kind of have that camaraderie. They can mess around, and, everyone's just here with the same goal, trying to move on to the next level.
Well, you see each other so much, too. It's almost like some of that has to happen. Last year you had the taxi squad as well, where guys were kind of floating around rosters. 2 of these guys returners this year to the league. A lot of room, and McFarland takes advantage for the first out. Now Trevor McKinley looking to get things shaken here in the third. Struck out looking on a 2-2 pitch back in the first. Michelle Herring on Facebook. Says she's cheering for the Mammoths, especially Logan Herring, of course, from DeKalb, Illinois. Hope I'm saying that right. Fill us in. Where is DeKalb, Illinois? Unless Jenna knows.
Jenna does not know.
Outside to McKinley 1-0. You a big trip person, driving places, or not so much?
I definitely enjoy it, but I feel like I haven't had too many opportunities to do so. But I enjoy long car rides. You know, it's about an hour for me to get to Jimmy John's here for a game, so I enjoy playing music, you know, the long ride.
1-1, rope to McFarland. Had a little trouble. Coleman is there again and safe over at first base.
I do love McKinley's swing. He's very calm in the box. Like, he's still able to get his rhythm and his timing, but you can tell he just attacks the ball. And sometimes those grounders, that's all you need to get through. They can bobble it.
Now Colton Horner, as Jenna mentioned earlier, one of the better hitters statistically in the league, will look to keep it rolling here. McKinley has decent wheels. He's off on the first pitch. Shoemaker with a breaking ball. A lot of factors there made it hard for him to have a chance. And McKinley able to swipe the bag. Stolen base number 21 for the Mammoths this year in 22 tries. The third for Trevor McKinley. Navarro leads this group with 5. Horner also came around to score on that leadoff single in the second. Good lead for McKinley, has Coleman eyeing him over his shoulder. 2 strikes on Horner now. Teamer for AJ there. Now the 1-2. Fly ball to right. Hanging up for LeBoy. Sprinting in the last second to try to get some gusto to gun McKinley, and he does just that. The point by A.J. Coleman to his fellow outfielder. Says, nice job, Christian LeBoy. I'm out of the inning. Nothing becomes of the error to McFarland over at first. LeBoy hoses another man here in the third.
When people keep repeating that you'll never fall in love, when everybody keeps retreating, but you can't seem to get enough, let my love open the door. Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door to your heart, to your heart.
Caribbean Blue Band playing the jams here at Jimmy John's Field in downtown Utica, Michigan. Jeremy Idle back alongside Jenna Rose to bring you the call here today. What a throw by Christian LeBoy in right. And I think literally, you know, at first I thought he was, you know, kind of hopping because he didn't have a great track on the ball. But I think he was literally running, knowing that he was going to catch it and was in good position, knowing there was a good runner on second base in McKinley, and he threw a strike over to Ron Williams Jr. for the third out here in the third inning.
That's why it's important to get behind the ball so you can use that momentum with you moving forward. We could definitely see that inertia follow through with that throw all the way to third base, getting McKinley out. Man, what an arm, and that translates over to what he does offensively with his power bat in LeBoy. Definitely a fun player to watch here in the USPBL.
Connor Bagneski, Nafi Mercedes, Ron Williams Jr., your Zach Hart agency 3-men due up. And a good job by Greg Lokinen as well to reel it back in. We've talked about it in the past. Sometimes what separates a good arm from a really good arm is if you have a rough inning, able to follow that up when you stay out there and, you know, put it back together. And that's exactly what he did. 7-batter inning that saw 3 earned runs. The big blow by Collier Rutledge, the double. The 8th batter in this game. Now back out there looking for potentially his 3rd 1-2-3 inning here in the top of the 4th.
With Rutledge, that just goes to show that there can be power throughout any lineup and anyone can have a breakout moment at any given time. Given that he's been struggling a little bit, but we've seen some bright spots specifically in this Beavers lineup where there was at one point earlier in the season we knew almost every bat in that lineup had the power, but they just weren't able to get a good barrel on the ball.
Bagneski was one of those walk victims for this Beavers defense, or offense, I should say, back in the 2nd. Walk to McFarland, walk to Bagneski, walk to Ron Williams Jr. They all scored. .30 high and another one. And that just creates a lot of problems, especially in a leadoff spot where Bagneski is here in the 4th. And I think that's why you've seen Ed Campanella at times lead him off in the lineup, is because he can definitely work you a walk, right? I mean, that's his 8th walk to 1 strikeout in now 17 official at-bats. Plate appearances up to around 30 at this point. 5 stolen bases leading into today. But he can also hit for some power for you. You've seen a double and a triple so far from him. Just an overall great hitter. That one shuttering close to the 3rd base bag and ruled foul. But he's kind of one of those hitters you dream about in terms of leading off an inning because he can do so many good things for you.
All right, his job's not done after he's out of the box. He's over on first. He has the speed, has that high baseball IQ out on the base pass.
And still getting a solid lead with a lefty on the mound as Lokinen sees exactly that.
And the confidence, too.
The 0-1. Curveball away. Curveball command hasn't been as sharp as we've seen it in the past for Lokinen. He's been working lately on throwing it a bit harder to make sure it stays over the plate. McKinley in for the first out. And now Ron Williams Jr. will look to keep it going. Had a walk and a run scored back in the 2nd as well.
It'll be key for Lokinen moving forward to have that head start in the count and not have to work his way from behind, because as we saw earlier in the 2nd inning, when that had to happen, that's when we saw all the walks.
He's worked his way into this starting lineup as Caruso on time, but skipped a bit. Good backup there by Guzman. And another stolen base for Bagneski, his 5th of the year. I said 5 before, but he came in with 4 into this game here tonight.
Now tied for first with another handful of players here in the USPBL.
Which is impressive, given the limited amount of games he's played, just number 7 here tonight. So you got to think, he keeps at this rate, could have 13, 15 by the end of the year. Going again. And he'll get it again.
All right, now Connor Bagneski officially leading the league with 6 stolen bases. You know, it's funny, I had to go to my car earlier today, Jeremy, but when I was walking out, somebody was wearing an old Austin Jackson jersey, which he was my favorite player on the Tigers. That was number 14 for the longest time, because I think he started to play for them in 2012 maybe.
Something around there, yeah.
But yeah, I always think of him, especially right now we're seeing all the stolen bases, because he definitely had wheels.
In there for strike 3, Ron Williams Jr. with a bent look back to the home plate umpire, but regardless, that's for the second out. Yeah, there's been quite a few players that can make the difference in the time period where the Tigers were really good. You think of, obviously, Jackson and Curtis Granderson, Rajay Davis.
Well, there's a lot to like right now, given what, they've won 7 straight games?
Mm-hmm. Did they win again today?
I believe so.
Afternoon game versus the Rangers.
Yeah, I remember Short and Reyes had back-to-back homers in that game.
So a 4-game sweep versus the Rangers. And how about that? Some breaking news in the MLB. Nelson Cruz is on the move again, heading to the Rays. Interesting. For the Minnesota Twins.
We saw some Rays fans here in the park today. Seen a couple lately, actually.
Kind of a short day in MLB here today. Not a lot of teams in action compared to a normal full day of work for these teams. 1-1, swing and a miss by Rutledge. 1-2 by Collier now. .74-mile-an-hour curveball outside, 2-2. In there for strike 3. Greg Lokinen, back-to-back tickets to the dugout here in the 4th. Gets Williams looking and Rutledge looking. It's still 3-3.
New flooring from the Carpet Guys is as easy as 1, 2, free. 1, just call the Carpet Guys for fast, free, and home shopping. 2, get massive warehouse direct savings. And 3, I mean free, as in 4 years of interest-free financing. That's 1, 2, free, but only for a limited time, so be wise and call the Carpet Guys at 855-4MY-GUYS or visit carpetguys.com today.
Be wise, call the Carpet Guys at 855-4MY-GUYS.
At Fifth Third Bank, we're working hard to make banking a Fifth Third better, which means we put 166.7% into everything we do.
I think you can only give 110%.
Well, with free checking, fraud protection services, and an automatic savings tool to help you quickly reach your goals, 166.7% is possible.
Oh, wait till my 8th graders hear about this. They're gonna be like, it's not possible. Well, yes it is.
This is banking, a Fifth Third better.
Welcome back, everyone, to Jimmy John's Field. A.J. Coleman working off an inning where he faced the minimum, a little bit unorthodoxly. If you look at it, a pop out to Lamar Briggs to start it, and then Trevor McKinley was able to reach on an error to Travis McFarland over at first base. McKinley looking to take third after he stole seconds on the previous pitch on a line out by Colton Horner, but what a throw by Christian LeBoy from right field, lasering his way across the diamond, well over to the third baseman Ron Williams Jr. in that case, and able to record the third out in the end. Here in the 4th inning, Coleman will face Guzman, Spencer McGee, and Nick Caruso. Brought to you by Zach Hart Agency here today. So Lokinen going 4 thus far, and what is a scheduled 9-inning contest here today. Coleman the same to this point, and we're going to welcome on Shane McCaddy, the pitching coordinator here in the USPBL. Shane, how are you?
I'm good, Jeremy. How are you?
Good. Good to talk with you on air.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
Fly ball by Goose to left center field there. Bagneski is under it. So kind of want to address, first off, all four guys that are out of here. I mean, it kind of hits you in the face, I'm sure, from a pitching perspective as well as you guys scramble and try to figure out, who's going to take these guys' place, because number one, they're all starting pitchers. Number two, arguably maybe the best four pitchers on each team, but starting, I guess, with Jackson Hicks. I mean, you love the story, right? And you guys didn't really know what was all in the tank because you hadn't seen him much before he was signed.
Right, yeah. I mean, Jackson was a guy that we all loved. We're sad to see all these guys go, but, I mean, couldn't be happier at the same time. Jackson, right off the bat, super hard worker, and from day one was just, trying to get as much work as he could. And, it was a common theme with all the guys that left yesterday. Just trying every day to get better, and, it was really inspiring to be around him, and, had a lot of fun while he was here.
Fastball, splitter, slider for Jackson Hicks, and I know it was more of a curveball that kind of looked like a slider for Jackson, but you came to him at some point and said, hey, just throw the slider because it'll look better, right, for you?
Right, yeah. And, he at times, his curveball, starting off, it was never his best off-speed pitch. It was that split finger. It was just more of a feel pitch with this curveball, and we messed around with it a little bit. And, one day we were just kind of working on some things, and, I threw some thoughts at him, and he ended up, taking off with it, and it kind of started out slow, and then, it was like a light bulb went off, and the switch flipped, and it ended up being a pretty good pitch. You still got ways to go, and to get fully comfortable with it, but it ended up being really good, pretty quick.
1-2 on Spencer McGee here. Line out to begin this inning against Coleman. There's strike three. The curveball at 75 for AJ. So 2 up and 2 down. Before we get to the other guys, let's focus on Mr. Coleman for a second as he's out there. You guys have worked on, keeping that arm at a 90-degree angle. For those the average fan who doesn't know what that means, kind of explain it for them.
Well, when they get to, it's a point in their delivery that is, is considered their power position. When their lead foot hits the ground, their landing foot, we want that arm, their throwing arm, to match their spine angle behind them, which puts them in a, low risk as far as, their elbow and shoulder taking on the stress. It gets them in a good position to get a lot of leverage from, and so whenever we take video and break things down for the guys, it's always a point of interest that we point out, pretty early on.
2-0 on Caruso here. Lazy fly ball that's carrying to right center field. Bagneski going over. Can you stick around for another half inning? That was quick.
Absolutely.
Shane McCaddy, the pitching coordinator here at the USPBL, will stick with us. 1-2-3 for AJ Coleman, looking good here in the fourth. Back with more after this on the USPBL Network.
Times are tough right now. It feels like the bottom of the ninth and we're down by 2. But we've seen tough times before. And just like baseball has always been more than just a game, Chief Financial Credit Union is more than money. So it might be the bottom of the ninth, but we're the home team, and we've got runners on base. Batter up, America. It's time to play ball.
Welcome back to the USPBL Network here. Greg Lokinen out for his 5th inning of work. Shane McCaddy, the pitching coordinator here at the USPBL, is back with us. And I know we have a special viewer here tonight for you. You want to shout him out?
Yeah, I want to say hi back home to my wife Ashley and my son Jack and my mother-in-law Linda, all watching the game at home in Grand Rapids right now. So I'd like to say hi to my son who's watching the game. Better be getting to bed sometime soon here.
Help the baby, right? Get to bed.
That's
Big
right.
brother now.
Leading the way. That's right. Set the example early.
It'll be Shoemaker, Keyshawn Lynch, and Christian the boy up against Luukkonen here in the 5th inning. Now, are you seeing anything specific with Greg? Because he even talked to me last week about getting ahead in counts. He's had trouble with that kind of the last 2 games. But what has he struggled with? I guess to make that a factor here today.
Well, just with a lot of these guys, he's been working on some timing things, and he hit the ground running, real hot and found some success, and multiple starts in a row, which is great. But it's you never want to struggle, but at the same time, I want these guys to face some adversity so they can learn how to manage that and hopefully make adjustments, quicker on their own. So, it's okay that the last couple outings haven't gone, picture perfect for him, and he's a guy that's, very aware of what he's doing. And if we point those things out quickly, he's going to, work and work and work until you almost have to tell him to, he's got to take a step back, so he's that kind of guy. So today, I think, he came out with he had the 1 inning there, just the little blemish, but, no big deal. He's rebounded from that, and he's moving really well today, aggressively attacking, just trying to, same thing as AJ, making sure that he gets his arm up on time and he gets to a good finish over his front leg.
1-1 away as Caruso tries to pull it back in, but we were kind of talking about it before you came up here in terms of, a good arm like Luukkonen. You walk 3 batters for a pitcher who maybe has a weak mindset. He may, walk a 4th, a 5th, a 6th, and then he's out of the outing quickly, but isn't that kind of what separates, the good from the really good in terms of a guy that can bounce back like that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the quicker you can make an adjustment, make an adjustment, and string together pitches, instead of, being able to repeat a delivery, say, 2 out of 5 times or 6 out of 10 times, you really start to jump up another level when you can repeat that, 8 out of 10 times. That's where you start to find that real success. And that gap isn't huge, and that's what guys are realizing at this level, that it doesn't have to be their nastiest pitch every time. They just have to be repeatable in their delivery, and they're going to see success from that.
Austin Shoemaker leads off this 5th inning with a walk. Here's a fly ball as Lynch kind of get under that one. Bauer ranging towards foul territory for the first out here, chatting with Shane McCaddy, the pitching coordinator at the USPBL. So we already hit on Jackson Hicks, one of the guys that got signed yesterday to the Minnesota Twins. I want to move on to Malik Barrington because I think it's kind of comparable. We talked about that in the past and have said this on air in the past. You said that, Barrington and Hicks, 2 of the hardest working guys you've ever seen here at the league in the last couple of years.
Well, it was funny. I mean, immediately when they arrived here, before you really get to know any of these guys, Malik got my number from somebody else. I don't even think I had more than 30 seconds of conversation after the first day, and I got a text message from him that night saying, hey, what did you see from me earlier today? What can I do to get better? And I was like, hey, I saw you throw 5 pitches, but I love the attitude. So he was like that from day one, just like Jackson, and I mean, really just hit as hard as he could, just hit it, and just really repped the things he needed to do. Like, we saw a big time change from one outing to the next when he really took it to the next level as far as a velo jump and sharpness with his off speed stuff. So not everyone has those same breakthrough performances, but that's encouraging for not only him but for the other guys to see that and be like, hey, this is we're on to something and we're working for a common goal.
And a big part of that was the leg kick, right? Bringing it higher to what he did.
It was, and it was his timing. He was a guy that kind of would lose his posture of his chest, and he would start to kind of rotate out of his delivery instead of keeping all of his momentum going toward the plate, and that was just kind of worked as a counterbalance to keep him moving and keep everything synced up. And it felt really weird to him at first, but I think he caught on quick, because that's a not a easy thing to do, that quickly, and he saw the results of it, and it was it was pretty cool to see. Justin Ornduff and I were sitting down there just kind of like smiling at each other as it was happening right in front of us. So that was a ton of fun.
And he kind of got that, and you guys were even surprised how high it was. But he got it from Justin and what he's done with his, delivery even after his playing career has been over as he continues to throw. As this one popped up down the third baseline, McGee under it for the second out. And moving along to the next player that was signed yesterday, Jordan Carr kind of established himself pretty quickly as a guy to watch, very low ERA, tough guy to hit against with, virtually no runs given up in quite a few outings. But what did you guys like about him off the get-go, and what did you do as the season went on to tweak him?
Well, he was a guy, you always like the left-handed guys that can throw multiple pitches for strikes, and he was that guy right off the bat. Multiple pitches for strikes, attacking the zone. And he just immediately showed a feel for the game, pitching what he wanted to do. It wasn't, a huge overhaul with him. It was, just maybe think about this way and moving with, like we see with a lot of the guys. And he took to it quickly. And he's had like a one key or two in his outings of recent. And, he took off of that.
1-1 on Roy Verdejo. He's 0 for 2 today. Was the third strikeout victim for Loken. He has 5 total, 2 since that, back in the fourth inning with 2 outs and a tie score, 3-3. Runner moving to second base, clubbed past the umpire and past the running legs of Shoemaker as well. Shoemaker going to be held at third base as McKinley gets to the ball. But nonetheless, after the leadoff walk here in the 5th inning, Loken able to retire the next 2, and now things getting a bit more interesting with Travis McFarland at the plate. We're talking with Shane McCaddy, the pitching coordinator here at the USPBL, makes all the DVS tweaks with these guys along with Justin Orenduff when they take a look at 2SP on off days. Ricardo Velez, a guy we remember maybe in game 1 is working a bit slower. Did you guys try to speed him up a bit? By game 2, he was working much quicker, just like anybody else.
Yeah, he was a guy that came in with, it was obvious the arm talent right off the bat with him, and might have been a little slower. Could have been like, just getting adjusted to his new surroundings, and he really athletic through his delivery, really loose, whippy arm action. And, he got it, got a little bit more comfortable, in being in the surroundings here. And, he was a lot of fun to watch. He's got some pretty explosive stuff. Really, really fun guy to watch pitch.
0-2 to McFarland with 2 outs, runners on the corners, trying to rally here to get a lead once again. Busts him inside, 1-2 on McFarland. So you know what the next level feels like. Your dad obviously knows playing in the major leagues. I told you this. I texted you one day. I was looking through my old baseball cards at my parents' house, and a McCaddy comes up, and I'm like, "Whoa, that's pretty cool."
Yeah, no, I get that a lot. I mean, the classic 80s baseball cards, and people will bring them out or tell me they've had them or their dad has them, and it's always fun to see. And I love hearing people's stories or their dad's stories of watching them pitch. It's a lot of fun to hear all that stuff.
Well, Shane, thanks for joining us here today. Thanks for all your insight on off days and off the air as well. We appreciate that very much. Shane McCaddy, the pitching coordinator here at the USPBL. Stick around, much more after this.
First State Bank is a locally owned and operated business. We're part of your community. At fsbcares.com, you'll find ways that we're making a difference by featuring locally owned and operated businesses, providing access to helpful financial resources, and engaging with community. FSBcares.com is part of our commitment to the neighborhood because strong neighbors mean stronger communities.
Where good neighbors do great things.
Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
As your neighbor who works at Ascension, Michigan, and a cardiologist who's practiced for more than 20 years, I'm going to keep asking, how are you feeling today? Your care can't wait. Getting care sooner can mean catching things before they get worse. At Ascension, Michigan, our ERs and our hospitals and other sites of care are maintaining strict precautions for your safety. Studies have shown that people will get care sooner if they're encouraged by their doctors, family, and friends. Get the care you need at getascensionmichigancare.com.
Welcome back to the USPBL Network. Right-hander A.J. Coleman back on the bump. He was off to a good start today. We saw he had a strikeout earlier in the first inning. That was a swinging strike. And, of course, when we look through it, he got a little bit offbeat with his rhythm, but he's been dialing back in. It was 3 up, 3 down in the fourth inning. And now here we are, bottom of the fifth. And that will send up Norberto Navarro to the plate, playing second base for the Westside Woolly Mammoths, and he has the ability to spray to all fields. However, he does have a ground ball percentage that is just over 40% of the time, and he's going up against a pitcher right now who is notorious for inducing ground balls. So whether a ball's put into play, majority of the time, we have an idea about where it's going to go.
1-0 on Navarro. That went in for strike one. Navarro, Herring, Bauer, your Zach Hart agency three-men duo. 1-1 high and away. Coleman today has faced some minimum in the last 2 innings. Looking to do that again here in the fifth. Mercedes sees that one float down for out number 1.
That'll send Logan Herring up to the plate, currently hitting .261 against righties, heading into today's game 1-2 with a double and a 2 RBI.
It was certainly a big-time hit for Herring, still trying to really feel his best at the plate here in the professional level. Same spot, this one floating past Roy Verdejo. Herring hits the first base bag on his way to second. And it looked exactly identical to his one that plated 2 in the second, Jenna.
Solid contact by Herring, and you talked about it earlier, Jeremy, who's someone who just gets better and better every time they step up to the plate, and that was solid contact that went into left center there. A bit of a tough read for Verdejo, but when it's coming off of the bat that fast, you've got to react.
Good stuff from Shane McCaddy on the 4 arms that moved on to the next level with the Twins. Always good to talk to Shane before the game, but it's always nice to hear it represented, straight from his mouth on the air as well, because he's a guy that knows so much and certainly is deeply involved with all the tweaks that happens with these pitchers.
It definitely is a bit of a bittersweet moment. You are so excited for these guys. That's the goal, to get them to the next level, but they've obviously made an impact here in the USPBL.
And there's a reasons why that, this league in the past has been considered a pitcher's league. It's because of all the adjustments that the staff does to make these guys some of the better arms and available to move on to the next level. Action in each bullpen for the first time tonight. Charles Donovan throwing for the Beavers. Looks like the newcomer on the other end, Josh Hancock. He was one of the arms scheduled to throw for the Mammoths today if needed. Hancock and Ledbetter are the 2 arms that the Mammoths anticipated using. Probably one of the only arms unavailable today for the Beavers, Cole Gidley. He will make another start because of the loss of Barrington, and boy, That bat takes a heave-ho down the first base line, and that nearly reached the dugout, which is a long haul here at Jimmy John's Field on the Beavers end down the first base line.
Well, Bauer's a strong guy, that's for sure, but you can see when he's getting into that rhythm, he's really bringing the bat back and forth. I like how, Jeremy, I'm trying to show it to you when I'm not even really describing it on air here, but
that was like us at the Wiffle Ball Stadium yesterday, right?
Right. You know, maybe you can get Shane to, help you out over at the speed pitch, boost that velocity, fix the form.
Here's the 1-2. Lifted foul. I'm sure there's a lot wrong with it.
Well, I mean, are you sore after a little, wiffle ball game?
Not as much as I thought I would be because I was swinging like out of my shoes half the time.
Well, you got to get ready because we got to have a softball game here at some point.
I'm ready.
Yep.
Tell me when. Matt Snyder wants in as well.
Here we
he
go.
Was down there at the Wiffle Ball Stadium with us yesterday.
Throwing some heat on the mound.
Sure was. 1-2. Dusted low and away. The changeup again from AJ. Came into tonight using that just 8% of the time, but we've seen it a bit more here today, especially early in this game. It's gone back to mostly fastball, curveball as this one is going on. The 2-2 clubbed over the head of Lynch into right field. They're going to send the runner around third base. Herring heading there. The throw offline and can't be caught. And just like that, the Mammoths snatch back a lead.
We've definitely already seen some hard hits here from the Mammoths at the bottom of the fifth, especially going back to that deep line drive in left center by Herring. When you get to that point where you get that momentum going in your lineup, having those solid hits, you can only really build on it from there on. Hitting is contagious. Wish I could talk today, Jeremy.
We all have those days. So Bauer able to plate run number 6 of the year as he ends up on second base. And that wasn't a sure bet run with LeBoy trying to rise and fire again in right field. We saw him go from right field to third base and pin the third out of the third inning. That was McKinley who was gunned down. Briggs had a walk back in the first, also popped out in the third. Tough curveball. Knobs that off the end of the bat, and he'll take a second to regroup.
Very aggressive base running by Bauer.
Yeah, he took the opportunity right away, realizing that LeBoy was going to uncork another throw home that time. Well, we saw a long regroup there from Lamar Briggs. Really flustered by that curveball from Coleman. Does he throw it again? Let's see. The 0-2 sure does. Looped foul. And Briggs will do the exact same thing. Look at him. Shaking his head.
Foul off the pitches that you don't want until you get something that you do.
That silver bat, is that new for him? Don't remember seeing that one. Kind of sticks out. Matching his team colors. 0-2 again. Fastball, poured foul. Jason Kirkman chimes in on Facebook, says, hello everyone, enjoying the game from Cairo, New York here today. Wendy Bagneski says, go Beavers, cheering on our favorite player number 2 from Green Bay. The 0-2. Third curveball in a row. Did he go? Says the appeal. Trent Bauer lets everybody know that fact as well.
Very animated over on second.
Well, he's in about the same spot as the base pass umpire right now.
And Briggs staying in this one, fouling off, I believe, 3 pitches so far.
All of them curveballs to this point. The 1-2 another. This one galloping in at 75. 2-2 on Lamar. Bauer dancing off of second, and the battle continues. Coleman in his last 5 games has at least thrown 5 innings in every outing. 2 6-inning starts mixed into that equation as well. The second and third. 2-2. Wow, that's a tough pitch to lay off. He did at 89, 3-2.
Giving Coleman a bang for his buck there at the plate.
Just 1 out here in the 5th inning. Working up the pitch count, if nothing else, certainly, as he fouls off another curveball. Trevor McKinley, your Zach Hart agency man on deck. If Briggs doesn't benefit from this long at-bat, McKinley might. Generally how it works when you see this many pitches. With less than 2 outs, curveball, golf that one to left field, chasing Verdejo back. He's not going to get to it. Bangs off the wall. Bauer around third base. He had to wait to make sure that ball wasn't caught out in left center field, but Lamar Briggs takes advantage and golfs the curveball out to left center in the end.
That was a nice read by Bagneski off the wall. Can always be a little tricky when you're trying to field it on the bounce. You got the fake throw there for the cutoff to see if you can get that runner at second to get off the bag just a little more. But overall, as you were saying, that benefits the batter normally as you work your way into those counts, fouling off those pitches. And I'm sure at some point it could benefit McKinley as we have a pitching change.
Charles Donovan coming on to take the baseball here. 1 out, 2 runs already in there, 2 big ones, as the Mammoths now have a 5-3 lead. We'll step away here in the bottom of the 5th inning with a runner on second base on the USPBL Network.
Whenever my family wants to enjoy the great outdoors, we pack up my Chevy Blazer and go camping in style. It looks great, and with the cargo management system, we can bring all the comforts of home away from home. Plus, with available 4G LTE Wi-Fi, the kids can still stay connected with friends. Thanks to my Blazer, roughing it isn't rough at all.
Lease a 2021 Blazer 2 LT for just $219 a month.
Well, you could win $250 plus 4 front row tickets to the USPBL Championship game in September. Text Chevy Detroit to 555-888. Again, that's Chevy Detroit to 555-888. Visit ChevyDetroit.com/USPBL for all the official rules of that contest. Here comes Donovan on the mound for the Beavers. Takes over for A.J. Coleman in the 5th. You could tell that Ed Campanella looked like he wanted to get Coleman through 5 again here today. Again, a scheduled 9-inning contest. We'll see if we get to that point. We played 8 last night by the time the time rule crept up to us. Trevor McKinley bats with a runner on second base. 2 doubles, a single in the inning. Have driven in the 2 untying runs. Donovan, the 6'3" lefty, 250 pounds. Close play over there, but sneaking his way in is Briggs. And boy, the stolen bases are aplenty here in this game here tonight. And this is kind of something we saw early on in the season. It leveled off a bit. Stolen bases still at a high clip compared to caught stealings, but aggressive base running early on by these 2 teams so far. 2-0 fastball high, 3-0. Donovan runs a 4-seam, a curveball, a changeup, and a cutter every once in a while at you. Came into the league as a starter. He's had some trouble with fastball command as he uncorks a walk on the fastball there. Runners on first and third with 1 out, and now Colton Horner has a chance for a few more RBIs here. Had a single and a run scored back in the second. Lined out to right, and that's where Christian LeBoy went to work to make a double play out of what usually isn't on a line drive to right. Able to gun down Trevor McKinley, trying to head to third to end the inning in that situation. Runner in motion to second. Shoemaker will throw down. Even with the runner on third, he'll halt in Lamar Briggs. And now McKinley swipes his second base of the game.
This is who you want at the plate with runners in scoring position. Horner currently hitting .455 off of left-handed pitchers. Has the ability to see the ball well and has the power.
0-1 inside as Donovan trips off the mound there. We've seen a couple times. Lokinen had a similar situation. Luckily for him, there was nobody on base, so it didn't really matter. He didn't even throw the pitch. But I guess in that situation, you got to try as hard as you can to get it off because you have already 2 runners in scoring position. That would have scored a run if you blocked. 1-1, swing and a miss. The fastball at 90. So that's a big strike. You have Briggs leaning on third, McKinley waiting patiently in a big lead on second. 2 runs already in to make it 5-3 off 5 hits and no errors. 3 runs off 2 hits and 1 error on the other end for the Beavers. The 1-2, swing and a miss. 89-mile-an-hour fastball punch to the outside corner, and Horner down swinging.
That's a big strikeout there for Donovan stepping in to this outing. Now that's going to bring up Adrian Guzman. We've talked about that professional presence that he brings with him, not only defensively, but also offensively in the box. So it's not over yet. 2 outs, runners in scoring position. Let's see if Donovan can come up big.
First pitch to Adrian Guzman is down low. Guzman quietly, the 7th man to the plate already here in the 5th inning. Second time they have sent 7 to the plate. Second inning, they also plated 3 runs. Guzman crowded for strike 1. Walk line out for Goose today. The even pitch slapped on the ground to Mercedes. On the backhand over to first, way off target. It's going to score 2 more runs. Guzman going to stay at first because McFarland and company got to it quickly, but that hurts.
You can tell that Guzman was just trying to get his barrel out on the ball, but as you can see, just putting the ball in play can do some damage. That was a nice backhand, but coming up on the throw, just way over the first baseman's head.
So both of those runs charged to Coleman, but unearned, because the inning would have been over if that play was made. Not an easy play by any stretch of the imagination. Now the 8th batter to the plate, the most that any team has sent in this game. The Beavers also had a 7-batter inning back in the second. We've already talked about what the Mammoths have done so far. They look to continue to add.
Remember how we talked about keeping score, Jeremy?
Yes.
It's getting a little fuddled right now.
Oh, no. What happened?
Well,
Just forgot to write down this or that?
just a lot of things that happened in this inning so far. I think I'll sum it up that way, in that fashion.
Well, wait till they bat around one time. Then you're crossing out things or you're trying to put lines in.
I don't even want to think about it.
Now, we both have the same scorebook, so they're pretty little boxes, so it's hard to fit in 2 at-bats. So I usually just cross it out, especially, I mean, there's 15 innings in this book. To get to 15 innings here tonight in a, under the 2.5-hour time limit is going to be pretty hard, and I don't think we're going to have any pitching left if that's the case. So you'll probably be okay if that does happen, if you start crossing things out.
This sounds a little high maintenance, but I wish that it had, like, the field already drawn in for me, the diamond.
I thought that at first.
But then there's more room to write, right? Is that the
Correct.
Because it's like for broadcasting specifically.
Exactly. 2-1, fought inside. Something that I've always tried to try. I just have never gotten into the rhythm of it because I always forget after the first base runner. But something that Dan Dickerson taught me, the voice of the Tigers, who was taught by Ernie Harwell, obviously the legendary voice of the Tigers. 3-1 in for strike 2. Ernie used to use a red pen and a black or blue pen. Black or blue just for, your average whatever, and then the red especially would be used for a runner on base, so we could easily identify, the runs, obviously, if it's shaded all the way in, if they score, and then also count up the amount of base runners that the pitcher used. As this one on the ground to Keyshawn Lynch, through and up his sleeve, and 9 will come to the plate here in the 5th, as there's now runners on first and second.
Man, we've seen some tough grounders work up the middle here for this defense, but both were able to make the stop. One just came off with the bad throw, and that there, at least he was able to knock it down before it got sent into right field.
That one ruled a hit. There are 2 errors on the board, one here in the 5th on the Beavers and one back in the 3rd. But scorekeeping is a fun thing, You
Is it?
Once you get a hold of it, you kind of make it your own. I'm still kind of tweaking how I do it. I mean, I've called games for a long time with it, going back to college, but I'd be lost, I think, without one now. 0-1 is outside, 1-1.
I used that phrase to my mom the other day, like, oh, yeah, I've had these tennis shoes since college. And it makes me feel like that dates us, and we're young, we're in our 20s, but it's a weird phrase. I don't like it.
1-1 again, punch back. 1-2 on Nick Caruso. I met Taylor Jellikowski's grandfather here today. And I guess he keeps score at every game he was at. He had a scorebook that he brought into the stadium here today. 1-2 down in the dirt. 2-2. Fly ball, he got under it. It might carry, though. Verdejo to the track and catches it just in front of the Health Quest physical therapy sign in left center field. They send 9 more to the plate. 4 runs scratch across, and all of a sudden the Mammoths with a lead in what's been a pretty tight game all. Well, for the past 35 years, Bell's Brewery has been inspired to brew beers that you can count on, just not for taste, but quality. From Two-Hearted Ale to Oberon to new classics, official hazy IPA, or the easy-drinking Golden Ale, Bell's Brewery has inspired beers since 1985. Comstock, Michigan, please drink responsibly. Back with more after this.
When people keep repeating that you'll never fall in love, and everybody keeps retreating, but you can't seem to get enough. Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door to your heart. To your heart.
Josh Hancock about to make his pro debut here today. The 6'6" right-handed arm out of Florida A&M. He features a four-seam, a two-seam, a slider, and a changeup. At one point in college, threw the curveball. He said maybe that comes back, but probably not today in what will be a relief appearance. He was mostly a starter in college. He starts as a reliever here in the USPBL, but talking to the Mammoths coaching staff, it sounded like if he performs well and if he shows that his fastball will play up, certainly could get a starting chance.
It definitely is exciting to see some of the shifts that we're seeing in the league. We get so used to the same teams, the same players, pitchers, batters going against each other again and again. So to have some of these new faces implemented yesterday, today, I'm excited to see how both sides react, those who are veterans in this league and those who are just coming in, and especially, you know, to have a story like what we've seen from Connor Bagneski so far, currently #1 in the league with his .471 average, #1 with his .609 on-base percentage. I mean, I know those are a bit of a small sample size. However, he's been extremely consistent in a short time here.
Elevated ERA for Hancock this year at the Division I level. Made 13 starts, 7.60 ERA. Walks to strikeouts were a bit of an issue, 32 walks to 37 Ks. Also allowed 7 home runs, but looking to wipe the slate clean here at the professional level, 6'6", 230. So he's going to join our imaginary basketball squad of USPBL pitchers. A.J. Coleman certainly there as well at 6'8". 5, 6, 7 up for the Beavers, and they need to make up a lot of ground all of a sudden. 7-3, the Mammoths lead as the sun starts to completely set here at Jimmy John's Field. We're losing our daylight all of a sudden here, floating towards August. What's happening? Those last inches of daylight for all the kids playing around the Metro Detroit area here.
Are they doing anything at the kids' corner right now? I don't think I can see over there.
It's hard to see, yeah. It's kind of indented into the ground past the berm. But the wiffle ball stadium has lights.
Oh, really?
So see them on top of the foul pole over
there?
That's
so sweet.
It's a pretty cool little stadium if you haven't been down there. What, fences of 87 in right with the high green monster type wall. 70 to the pole field in left, but a turf field out there.
Yeah, you're more than welcome to face our team. You know, Matt Schneider's throwing the heat.
Yep.
On the mound.
I'm fouling pitches off. And on occasion hitting one fairly deep, 3-1 in for strike 2.
Oh, you just won't let that go, will ya? You tripped me up out there, Jeremy. We're going to bounce back, though. It's all right.
You know, you feel like you just kill some balls and there's just a fly ball or pop-up. That's how it is off the skinny wiffle ball bat with the squishy ball. Navarro over to first. 1 up and 1 down. And that's something to retire Bagneski and, again, lead him or keep him on the bench leading off an inning. He walked to lead off the 4th and then stole 2 bases. Unfortunately, his teammates Went down 1-2-3 after that. Fly out, strikeout, strikeout. And you don't want to play the what-if game to the end, but what if that inning could have been a bit better? This game could feel a lot closer. We saw leadoff walks burn the Hoppers last night. 1-0, good rip.
That one made me jump a little bit. Going back up.
2 points for flinching. Mercedes today 0 for 2, line out, fly out. 1 to left, 1 to right. 1-1 off the plate outside at 79. 2-1 now. One of Hancock's goals is to get that fastball velocity a bit higher. There's 90 there. And that's where he'd like to average. You know, recently, not the last college season, but 2020, the shortened year, he had made about a 4-mile-an-hour jump in his fastball velocity. So he has been working it up, but wants to get it consistently in that range. Slider hung up and poked past Bauer. Mercedes galloping his way to second. He will get there with a slide. Wow, bang, bang. My goodness. Trent Bauer launching a ball to Norberto Navarro. And I gave up on that play to some extent. Shame him on me as he nearly gunned him down at second base.
We've seen some arms from the outfielders here today in Christian Leboyan and Trent Bauer over in left and right field, but what a hit, pulling it inside. I almost said stand-up double, but not quite.
Well, on a close play like that, too, it takes a good middle infielder to slap a quick tag, which Navarro did exactly there. Probably the best middle infield combination with Navarro and Guzman today for the Mammoths, as that two-seam fastball sinks low at 86. Ron Williams Jr. today, a strikeout in the fourth and a walk back in the second. Now the 1-0. Rope to right. That should score a run. Mercedes around the third base bag. He's waved around. And that will be a single for Ron Williams Jr. as he was right in front of the play. But regardless, some good swings by the Beavers here in the sixth.
You see both batters working with their pull sides, bringing that power over to right field there for Williams Jr.
Collier Rutledge had himself a 2 RBI double back in the second. Second double of his pro career. First pitch here, shot to the gap and through. Williams Jr. will stay at second base. And how about the swinging Beavers here in the sixth?
Beavers are definitely stepping into that box very aggressive. And, hey, those hard swings, they're paying off. Work by Rutledge. Nice to see him start to fall into a rhythm here today at USPBL. You mentioned earlier his 2 RBI double.
Austin Shoemaker trying to keep it going. He's had some productive at-bats today. RBI ground out in the second. Then a walk in the fifth. Hancock fires the fastball low. Asked him how he likes to attack hitters, and he said it kind of depends on the role. When he's a starter, he's more of a pitch-to-contact type of guy. 1-0, sunk to Navarro, feeds to second in time. Guzman, no doubt about it. The best double play combination in the league, flashes the leather to erase the sixth inning. It could have been a lot worse. They score 1 run, but 4-6-3 says no more.
Only at your Chevrolet certified service dealer do you get tires engineered specifically for your vehicle and a price match guarantee.
With our tire price match guarantee, if you find a better price within 30 days of purchase, we'll refund the difference. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
Make your move with a quick and easy mortgage from Genesis Credit Union. We have mortgages to fit your life. Genesis Credit Union. Visit us today.
Jeremy and Jenna back with you here. Jimmy John's Field in downtown Utica, Michigan. Donovan out there for his first full inning of work. Still waiting for a catcher to throw his warm-up tosses to right now. He came in for A.J. Coleman in the 5th. Immediately allowed a walk to Trevor McKinley, already inheriting a runner on second base with 2 runs in. Launched a second out on a strikeout to Colton Horner, so it could have all ended right after that as Guzman shot a ball to Mercedes that ended up in a 2 RBI error, or a 2-run error, no RBIs on an error. Then the single to McGee, line out to Caruso and Navarro. In the end, actually, no. See, this is the confusing part, right? The scorebook is tripping me up here.
Okay, well, I cannot help you out whatsoever on here. Matt, thoughts?
So, no, here's what happened here. So, Navarro was the first batter of the inning, right? So, you put P6 for the first out. And I put a second out in the case, so I'm thinking 2 outs, right? And that was the case, but then I see the P6 under the L7 for line out, which was the 3rd out of the 5th. So, that is the correct. You probably have no idea what I'm talking about at home as I just spew out scorebook language here. But regardless, anyway, Donovan could have gotten out of that maybe without any more runs scored. At that point, the Mammoths would have held a 5-3 lead. It's now 7-4 as the Beavers struck back. But you also look at the inning for Josh Hancock, and we talked about how it could have been a lot worse. After the leadout ground out, he allowed a double to Mercedes, then the single to Ron Williams Jr., which drove him in. A single directly after that by Collier Rutledge sharply into right, and then a 4-6-3 dynamic double play by Navarro, Guzman, and Herring. Donovan will face the top of the order here in the 7th inning. Keyshawn Lynch, Christian LeBoy, Roy Verdejo, brought to you by Zach Hart Agency.
Navarro just out in front, tipping it off the edge of his bat.
Oh, and 1 on Navarro. It's Navarro Herring Bauer, I beg your pardon. I was reading the wrong side. 9-1-2 due up. Quickly 0-2. Change up outside. Fastball away, 88 mile an hour on that one. Nathan Moses comments on YouTube, rooting for the Mammoths here today and also vacationing in St. Ignace, but had to see the game. Gotta love some St. Ignace action just across the bridge in the Upper Peninsula. Have you been to the UP? I think Jason told me he hadn't yet.
I've been to the UP, yeah, a couple of times. I believe we go to Houghton.
Okay.
That's up there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
3-2 on Navarro now.
Got to get a trip in sometime soon.
There's a lot of great spots.
Yeah, enjoy the nice weather.
Past the Mackinac Bridge. Tipped into the glove for strike 3.
Donovan there, we could see for the second strike he was able to get Navarro to swing away, worked him outside, brought him back in, and eventually fouling him out for the strikeout.
Logan Herring has been hot here today. Pair of doubles, two really similar swings as he sent it hard to the left center field gap the opposite way. He plated 2 runs on his double in the second and also came around to score in the 5th inning. It was the first 4 batters that all came around to score in that 5th. Herring, Bauer, Briggs, McKinley. (1-0) away, 2-0. Seven runs off 7 hits and no errors for the Mammoths. 4 runs off 5 hits and 2 errors for the Beavers. Looped, hockey-style, gloved that one down, and Donovan able to get over on that for the second out. So the pitcher's getting involved, especially on the Beavers side of things defensively here today.
Yeah, we had to see Coleman hustle on over to first base a couple of times as well. But in a situation like that, that's when I really appreciate when someone like Herring will still try to beat out the throw when there's a bit of a bobble, because sometimes you don't always see that.
2 up and 2 down for Donovan, trying to wipe the slate clean of sorts here in the 6th. His last outing on the 17th last week out of the bullpen versus the Unicorns. Just 1 inning of work, 2 hits. None scored, no walks and 2 strikeouts in the end.
Long swing and miss by Bauer there, strike 1.
Lefty on lefty combo here. Further action in the Beavers bullpen right now. Probably doubtful you'll see Donovan for a further inning. And there's just a lot of stirring going down there. There's 3 guys kind of chatting with each other, some with a glove. Ed Cuevas is up. He has not been throwing to my knowledge so far. Everybody back with 2 outs and a strike. Make it 2 strikes.
Yeah, I'm just realizing, Jeremy, we've had upwards of 4 doubles here today.
Yeah. Some more extra base pop.
Yeah. Love to see it. I can see you hitting some, doubles out here.
At this field or the other one? The other one you can barely get out of the infield if you hit it to the wall. This one off target for Mercedes. It was going to be a tight play over at first anyway. We'll see what they rule that. It is the 3rd error of the game for the Beavers, the 2nd on Mercedes. Now Lamar Briggs will try to extend it. He had one of those aforementioned doubles back in the monster 5th inning where they sent 9 to the plate. 9 in the 5th. 7 in the 2nd. It's been all their runs thus far. Three runs in the 2nd. 4 more in the 5th. Could the 6th see some padding action here again?
Interested to see what Briggs does during this at bat. I believe he has not recorded a hit against a lefty yet so far this season.
Bauer hopping over there, and he might have just hurt himself trying to get back to the first base bag. He kind of hopped onto the first base bag and maybe buckled that knee. He's going to try to continue. Unfortunately, our cameras did not pick that one up, so I can't really describe further what happened there. But anyway, it's still 1-1 on Lamar Briggs. 2 outs in the 6th inning. Strikeout, ground out to begin it, and then the error on Mercedes. Fastball away.
You could see Bauer exchange a couple of friendly words to McFarland there at first, so I'm sure he's feeling all right.
2-1 high, 3-1. Well, tune in or join us at the field tomorrow for Friday Night Fireworks. It's the Beavers and the Unicorns doing battle at 7:05. We'll be on the air right at the top of the hour, 7 Eastern. Briggs pulled back. A wry smile for the home plate umpire here today. 3-2 on the center fielder for the Mammoths today.
Briggs is no stranger to the full count. He's been able to work himself out of some sticky situations earlier today against Coleman, fouling off pitches.
Low strikeouts, but even in terms of walks this year as well. 7 walks to 6 Ks. He came in 6-6. Runner moving with 2 outs. Hit hard but foul. So the Beavers and Unicorns tomorrow. Again, this is a longer week. The next 4 in a row will be Wednesday through Sunday, full of action. Doubleheader this week on Saturday, the Unicorns and the Mammoths. Runner scattering to second. It's another walk. First of this inning for Donovan.
I guess I should try to write that down in my book, huh, Jeremy?
That's 5 walks in total.
Maybe I'll just start taking notes.
And we're working with the Bob Carpenter book, and I pointed this out to Jason, I don't know if you've seen this, but Bob Carpenter, the longtime voice of the Nationals, who kind of sells his book that he uses, that he's put together, but he puts a 1 next to the K, not for out, but for the number, also puts a 1 next to the walk for 1, 2, 3, and counts them up. And I actually have tried to do that, but again, you try to do something new and it's not stuck in your head. But I thought that was interesting. So for any broadcasters listening or watching out there, I think it would be a decent help to you if you could get that moving. 0-1 outside, 1-1 on McKinley. Because you're always thinking, oh, how many walks does this guy have? How many strikeouts does this guy have?
I've been able to do that during commercial break when I go through and count. And I go, oh, okay, I can do the 1, 2, 3.
Shattered his bat. Mercedes. Little Jordan jump for out number 3 here in the 6th inning. And that will end the mini threats by the Mammoths. Still 7-4 here on the USPBL network.
They call me Prospects. Since the day I was born as a diver's watch, the challengers of the world have taught me many things. Life is not a numbers game. It's about challenging ourselves. No matter what happens, just follow your heart. These pioneers drive our generation forward. Not by setting records, but by never giving up. Keep going forward. Prospects.
Available at Lucido Fine Jewelry.
As your neighbor who works at Ascension, Michigan, and a cardiologist who's practiced for more than 20 years, I'm going to keep asking, how are you feeling today? Your care can't wait. Getting care sooner can mean catching things before they get worse. At Ascension, Michigan, our ERs and our hospitals and other sites of care are maintaining strict precautions for your safety. Studies have shown that people will get care sooner if they're encouraged by their doctors, family, and friends. Get the care you need at getascensionmichigancare.com.
Here's your Cheers Cam, brought to you by Budweiser here today, the presenting sponsor of tonight's game. Also on its 5 o'clock somewhere Thursday. Fans enjoying today's action. Looks like she's picked up a softy ball here today. Don't spill now. it's not as expensive of a spill here at Jimmy John's Field than some other professional venues, but still.
Have you seen those, like the beer bats, where they're literally drinking out of
I have.
a plastic cup shaped like a bat for
Yes.
beer? I thought that was like the coolest thing ever. They should definitely get those here at the USPBL.
Well, second inning for Josh Hancock. He thanks his defense for the 4-6-3 double play. Gave up just 1 run in the 6th inning after 3 straight hard hit balls. There's another. Past the diving glove of McGee. Keyshawn Lynch fighting his way to second base, still being dug out of the corner by Bauer. And yes, that's a long time coming for Keyshawn as you see him hit one hard, not at somebody. And that's the important thing. We talked about it before the game. His manager has talked about it. Batting average on balls in play of 135 coming into play today. And you knew at some point that had to snap. And maybe that's the marker for Keyshawn as he notches his first extra base hit in a USPBL uniform.
That was an aggressive approach. He knew right away that he got what he wanted, was able to send it down the left field line. Nice effort by McGee, though, at third.
And his speed is certainly one reason why Ed Campanella has kept him at the top of the lineup, along with his walks. Still more strikeouts than walks, but he has drawn 10 walks this year compared to 18 Ks. Lifting swing and a miss by LeBoy. His 6-game hitting streak on the line here today. He's 0 for 3. Strikeout, ground up, pop out.
That goes hand in hand why it's so profitable to have Keyshawn Lynch right in front of Christian LeBoy, because he has that speed when he can get himself on base. LeBoy, most of the time, is able to put the ball in play and advance the runner.
Keyshawn with 17 MILB career stolen bases between 2017 and 2019. Rookie ball, A short and A full. That one, a can of corn. Guzman wheeling back, still going. Got it for the first out here in the 7th.
That was a high fly ball there. Getting a little nervous seeing him backtracking, doing a little bit of that stutter step. Was able to make the out.
But Keyshawn is a guy that did show some power at the minor league level. 9 doubles his first rookie season where he hit 300 overall, 409 slugging there. Then the following year, 10 doubles. Year after that, 9 in 50, 61, and 74 games consecutively. Popped him up. There's Guzman again, reaching that ball on a beeline for the second out.
Calling off McGee, giving Guzman some space as he navigates his way from short all the way to left field.
Travis McFarland. Walk, pop out, strikeout. As he finds this one inside and talking with Ed Campanella, the manager of the Beavers, around the cages here today. He mentioned that maybe the bats would break out a bit more tomorrow when he plays back-to-back days. Not too often you get to have that fortune unless you're playing the doubleheader. McFarland sees one outside, but sure, you'd love to have the lead, but I think there's some good signs in this game. We saw 3 hard hit balls in the 6th. You had a good offensive inning in the 2nd, capped off by a 2 RBI double after 3 walks that were all cashed in. The at-bats at least getting better for this Beavers team. The walk-to-strikeout ratio is very dramatic, but a lot of that has to do with the beginning of the season.
We've already talked about the power that we've seen throughout this Beavers lineup. I'm waiting for that breakout game like they had similar to the beginning of the season. 5 home runs in a single game.
2-1 from the slide step. Pass to diving glove of McGee for the second time this inning, and the man that did that will score. Keyshawn Lynch around the second base bag is McFarland, but he holds up. Beavers still kicking here in the 7th inning. It's 7-5.
It's a big hit there by McFarland, sending 2 men across the plate.
His 9th RBI of the year, double number 5. And now Connor Bagneski will come to the plate. We already told you in 6 games prior to tonight, the only game that he was held hitless was an 0-for-1 because he walked 3 times. He's walked twice and stole 2 bases. Now going to slice a double down the left field line. Around the third base bag is McFarland. Bagneski might chance this. No, as Bauer gets to it quite quickly. Boy, any other place, that's probably a triple for a man that can fly, because there's not a lot of room in between the foul pole and the bullpen here at Jimmy John's Field.
Wow, this Beavers lineup is really seeing the ball. They know what they want to attack when they step up to the plate. They're getting a good feel here of Hancock during this outing. Setting it down left field.
Sorry, Jenna, before that moment, there was no action in the Mammoths bullpen. Now they quickly scramble and get an arm up. Taylor Jellikowski looking to buy some time here. Johnny Bridenthal is warming. First pitch to Nafi Mercedes. Slider in for strike 1. So 3 doubles in this 7th inning have accounted for 2 more runs, and all of a sudden a 1-run ball game. 0-1 again, chopped foul. Everybody back on the infield and outfield here with 2 strikes and 2 outs. Lamar Briggs, the shallowest in the outfield and center field. He's right in line with the second base bag. The 0-2. Wow, wicked slider for strike 3. Gets Mercedes on a string there. 2 more runs to score, making it a lot interesting. That 2.5 rule also looming as innings dwindle here. Not sure we'll get in 9 here today. But we do know one thing. It's the 7th inning stretch brought to you by Genesis Credit Union here today.
Oh,
Jenna's favorite moments.
my favorite part
of the baseball contest. It's time for Take Me Out to the Ball Game. And here we go. In 1 second, we're going to be a little slower than the stadium. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back, for it's root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. 7th inning stretch brought to you by Genesis Credit Union here on the USPBL Network. Stick with us.
There's nothing better than a ball game at Jimmy John's Field and a cold beer from Midland Brewing Company. Hi, I'm Kyle, the head brewer at Midland Brewing Company, here to wish you a stellar time making memories at Jimmy John's Field. And we hope that you're living it up with a Copper Harbor Ale in your cup. You can find more of our selections here at the ballpark and around town at your favorite bottle shops too. We hope you have a ball at the game, and remember, enjoy responsibly. Let's play ball.
Charles Donovan, maybe a surprise that he works to 7th. Not a surprise in the fact that he was a starter, I guess. at the beginning of the year, but has been converted to the bullpen for a good month, maybe a month and a half at this point. His last 5 outings have not gone over 2 innings. The most pitches he has thrown in that stretch, 37. That was 2 appearances ago, and that looks like a broken bat for Colton Horner. Add it to the pile of firewood here.
Yeah, that's something we've seen a lot of today, the broken bats, and we've also seen more than usual a ton of doubles throughout both teams here tonight.
And 2 guys, at least in the starting department, not a huge surprise. I mean, you see that often for A.J. Coleman's ball, who moves so much, even on the fastball. And Lokinen kind of in that same category. So Horner gets a new stick here. He's 1 for 3 today. A single and a run scored back in the second, a line out in the third, and a strikeout in the 5th inning.
Phil, I agree with you here on the live stream. I always want them to mute my mic.
Outside to the designated hitter here today.
It's in my contract when I come in, you must sing during the 7th inning stretch.
Just an expectation. 1-2 away, changeup by Donovan there. Mostly fastball, curveball for Donovan. He has mixed in the changeup here or there. There's another fastball as the count fills. Here's Colton Horner working another count. Swing and a miss. Elevated the fastball high. His 2nd K tonight in Horner. That's also the 2nd for, or make it the 3rd thus far for Donovan.
Whenever Horner goes down swinging, it seems as though he's almost always swinging out of his shoes. He's very aggressive when he steps up to the plate. His body's swinging out with the momentum of that bat plane.
Here's Adrian Guzman. Guz has reached twice today on an error, which rained pretty big in the 5th. It plated 2 runs as the throw by Mercedes from the shortstop position skip past first, allowed Bauer, or make that Briggs and McKinley, to score. Also had a walk and scored back in the 2nd. 9:30 Eastern time is our time here. 7:05 first pitch or thereabouts. Change up at 81 and for strike 1. Now the 1-2. Dashing his feet. But inside in the end, another changeup that looked like it had a bit more bite. And that one has here today for Donovan. Lunges at the 2-2 pitch and knocks it foul.
Guzman doing his best to stay alive. We talked about it before. He brings that professional presence with him wherever he goes on the field, whether it be defensively or if he's stepping into the box. So it makes sense that we've seen him in multiple spots throughout the lineup so far this season for the Mammoths. He can produce at any point, really.
Cole Stanton is up and throwing for the Beavers now. Their closer. Slider punched back. Guzman, the shortstop once again. He's turned a double play with his mate over at second base, Norberto Navarro. The 2-2. Bounding ball. Mercedes, tough play again. Just nipped him over at first.
You could tell he was waiting to react on that funky hop that the ball had. It was approaching the lip, but to stay back, it was a nice fielded grounder.
Now Spencer McGee, the last shot here in the 7th inning. First pitch to Spencer, another first pitch changeup there by Donovan off the end of the bat. McGee today a single in the 5th. Also struck out looking in the 4th and grounded out in the 2nd. Hitting 7th today in the Mammoths lineup. Seven runs off 8 hits and no errors for the Mammoths. 5 runs off 8 hits and 2 errors for the Beavers. Last night it was all about the big inning, and certainly tonight that's been the case today, but a few more longer innings it feels like tonight, but not necessarily for a bad reason. I mean, some of it's good offense as well. Saw a good amount of walks yesterday, which led to the downfall of some of those runs. The 2-1. Slider fouled off.
Being a switch hitter, McGee has noted in the past that typically he feels more comfortable batting from the right given that his timing is set. So from the left, that's something that he's been wanting to work on.
Donovan will love a 1-2-3 inning here. Gets it. 2 strikeouts. He has 4 on the evening. Hasn't been easy for him because of some errors behind, but fighting through them in the 5th, 6th, and 7th in this game.
Attention, Michigan, there is absolutely no need to drive all over town searching for new flooring. When the Carpet Guys will come to your house on your schedule, we'll bring our store to your door so you can shop in the comfort and privacy of your own home. And you'll love our huge selection. Buy right now with interest-free financing for up to 4 years. You can carpet your entire home for as little as $11.99 per month. Let the Carpet Guys take the stress out of buying new flooring. Call for a free in-house shopping experience today.
Be wise, call the Carpet Guys at 855 for my guys.
James Rogers now takes the mound for the Westside Woolly Mammoths here today. His 6th appearance out of the bullpen for the lefty. And it appears that he has switched numbers on us. I believe Hancock was wearing 24
there it
today.
is. Well, so far, Rogers has 6 innings of work under his belt, where during that spread, he had 2 walks, struck out 6, only allowed 7 hits, one of those being a double, another one being a homer, an ERA of 4.5. Typically what you see Rogers utilize from his arsenal on the mound is that four-seam fastball, uses it just over 50% of the time, has an average velocity just over 86 miles per hour. That will come in tandem with his slider. Also, there will be appearances of his curveball and changeup.
Johnny G, the public address announcer here at Jimmy John's Field, has announced that this will be the last inning. Obviously, this is the top of the 8th. If the Beavers do scratch back for the tying run, they would play out the bottom half. And Ron Williams Jr. says, whoa. That one nearly hit me as I try to lay down a bunt. And now they're going to come out and argue that that did not hit him. Looked a little unorthodox. Umpires come together. And it looks like it's going to stay the same. So a leadoff runner on first base here, Collier Rutledge will look to continue this. And now Caruso having a word with the home plate umpire here today about that last pitch. I think they might have thought that it also hit the bat of Ron Williams Jr. as that ranges outside. We welcome on Matt Schneider now, fine analytics guy that always sits to our left here in the booth, running the flight scope. Williams Jr. leading off this top of the 8th inning with a hit by pitch. Couldn't write the script any better. What do you got for us today, numbers-wise? Anything you see interesting?
It's been a pretty interesting game so far. A lot of doubles. I think this is a new season record for doubles in a game.
Hard hit, too.
Yeah. And we got last time Rutledge was up, he supposedly hit a 112-mile-per-hour ground ball.
We both looked at each other and they said there's no way. But he's hit it hard a couple times here today, so not taken away from it. But 112, I mean, that's like Giancarlo Stanton bomb, home run, line drive type of deal.
Yeah. Yeah, might have been probably over 80. It's hard to hit, but definitely not over 100.
2-0 quickly on Collier Rutledge. Jenna Rose has headed down to the field. She'll interview your Rochester University Player of the Game in our Auto Lab postgame show after things are said and done today.
I wonder if they'll have Rutledge here lay down a bunt.
They
Maybe
could.
Get the tying run over.
Not often that you see bunts called for here in the USPBL. It looks like he's not doing so, but sometimes you'll see players go ahead. As games start to mean more in terms of standings and, you know, if you're down to the nitty-gritty in terms of the first couple games and before the playoffs, you'll see that. 3-0 pulled in for strike one, 86 mile an hour fastball there from Rogers. Fastball averaging around 86. It's topped out at 88 so far this year in his 5 appearances. Hardy swing, but foul. 3 runs in the second inning, and more importantly, 4 runs in the 5th inning for the Mammoths, which they are now holding on with a thread here in the 8th. 3 runs the last 2 for the Beavers, trying to add on to that here and possibly take the lead. Their closer has been warming, Cole Stanton.
So earlier in this at-bat, Rutledge had a 3-0 count, and he did not swing at a strike. How do you feel about letting people swing on 3-0?
I think in this league it's probably more accepted than in general. 3-2 is chopped foul. You kind of heard from most managers and player development staff, you know, you're here to showcase your skills, right? And a walk, you know, let's face it, isn't going to get you probably to the next level unless you're really next level, haha, in terms of Frankie Luskin on base percentage. But 3-2 up the box and into right field. This might tie the game. Campanella waves him around third base. Bingo. 7-7 here in the top of the 8th, just like that with no outs.
What a game from Rutledge. 3 hits.
RBIs 6, 7, and 8 here today. Drove in 2 back in the second, had a single in the 6th, and another huge RBI here in the 8th inning. 95 off the bat the opposite way. Austin Shoemaker, who's had some productive at-bats here today. They're expecting a bunt from him possibly. McGee inching in. He shows it. Runner moving to second base. Gun down. Caruso says not so fast. I think Rutledge got caught in a situation there where he thought maybe Shoemaker would have gotten a piece, and he was too far off the bag, and he just went with it.
Yeah, it looked like it might have been like a bunt and run, a hit and run, and he got a late jump. He was out by a couple feet.
Looking to keep that bat head short. Did you see that comment the other day? It was by an MLB analyst. I can't remember who it was on maybe MLB Network. They said that the check swing, if you offer it all, and that one was more, towards it. He could have swung for sure. So here or there, but they said if you start your swing at all, so even, like a subtle whoop and back, it should be a strike.
Yeah, I think it was John Heyman on MLB Network.
2-1 is off the bat foul. Your thoughts?
Not a huge fan of that, no. It's a pretty ambiguous rule from my understanding right now. There's not really like a set in stone, when it is a strike. It's usually up to the umpire's discretion. So I'd be interested in seeing them, hammer that rule down so it's more universal.
The 2-2 is floated to left. Bauer can't get it. Spiked a bit more on him down the left field line, and now the at-bat extends for Austin Shoemaker. Celaya and Blom are the two availables on the bench if Ed Campanella wants to go that route. Top of the order is on deck, brought to you by Zach Hart Agency. It's Keyshawn Lynch, who just clubbed a double. So that's a decent guy coming up next in terms of trying to ride the hot hand. Two swing and a miss. The slider from Rogers gets him to bite for the second out. Do you know where that comment came from? Was he responding to something in the game, or I just saw this short clip, probably what you saw too.
I saw the short clip too. Yeah, it was just an MLB Network segment, and he was arguing with another MLB Network reporter. I forget who it was.
First pitch to Keyshawn Lynch. Sparks low. The fastball at 85. Who knows? Maybe it's something you'll see tinkered around with in the minor leagues. They've at every level this year trying to try out something new. We discussed that in a different broadcast here in the USPBL network at some point. I've heard, though, that Chris Snyder, who fills in on PA, he also does public address for the Lansing Lugnuts in the Midwest League, which has been elevated this year to the High A affiliate of the Athletics. They've swapped affiliates. They were Blue Jays, now Athletics and Lansing. 1-1 is low. They were trying to make the pickoffs so that you had to step off, I believe, before throwing. Chris LeBoy is your man on deck here. 2-1 pitch, popped him up. Guzman ranging behind the second base bag. Ooh, a little bit trickier than normal for Adrian. Maybe something about the sky here tonight as the sun falls behind the clouds. We're tied at 7 as we head to the bottom of the 8th. The game could continue theoretically after this. We'll see on the USPBL network.
I'm all out of love for my old insurance. Switch to insurance. They're saving me so much. They covered my car and bundled with my home. I feel so secure to say I love insurance.
Hello, AAA Insurance.
Goodbye, insurance. Hello.
Insurance.
Get a quote and save up to 20%.
First State Bank is a locally owned and operated business. We're part of your community. At fsbcares.com, you'll find ways that we're making a difference by featuring locally owned and operated businesses, providing access to helpful financial resources, and engaging with community. FSBcares.com is part of our commitment to the neighborhood because strong neighbors mean stronger communities.
Where good neighbors do great things.
Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Cole Stanton takes over on the mound for the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers here in inning number 8. Stanton takes the baton from Donovan. And it won't be the cleanest line from Donovan, but, I mean, you look at it, and a lot of it wasn't his fault. The inning extended twice because of 2 E6s in the end. One that scored 2 runs in the 5th, another that allowed a couple more batters. What could have been a 1-2-3 inning in the 6th for Donovan. He did work a 1-2-3 in the 7th. So he hands it off to Cole Stanton. That's been pretty solid this year. The closer for Ed Campanella's team, 6-foot-tall right-hander. His 13th appearance, 15 1/3 innings, 5 walks to 16 strikeouts. Matt Snyder, analytics intern here at the USPBL, joining us as Jenna has gone down to wait for our interviewee at the end of this game here today. What sticks out to you about Stanton so far?
Stan has been lights out so far this year, to say the least. He, for the first 2 months, he did not allow a single run. His last outing, he allowed his first 2 runs of the year. I don't really remember much about that outing. I think he threw 2 innings.
Yep.
So it might have been one of his longer outings of the year.
I think that was extra innings, 17th, so that was the Saturday, right?
But his fastball is really great. His breaking ball, he throws a slider and a curveball, I think, but they look very similar. I honestly can't tell the difference.
Fastball that runs up on average at 91. Maxing out at 93. Certainly another guy you could venture that could move on to the next level if he picks up a lead or 2. Fly ball to left. Verdejo started way back, now has to cruise in. And there's 1 down.
And wasn't Cole Sand a converted pitcher from like a third baseman?
Yes.
For the season?
Yep.
So there might be even more room for, improvement with his mechanics, as it's only been a couple months converting. He might even need a couple more months, and you could be even further along, be even more lights out.
He was also a guy that took a few years off of baseball as well. Ooh, what a bunt. Down the third baseline. Are you kidding me, Norberto Navarro? You couldn't draw it up any better, and you probably wouldn't expect it at all with 1 out. And Norberto's like, yeah, I just did that. It's no big deal. Now the smile.
I wonder if bunts in MLB are considered when they calculate average exit velo. Because
that's a good question.
Probably had exit velo of 30 miles per hour.
That'd bring you down, wouldn't it?
That would brought him way down. I didn't pick it up on the flight scope, but
that's something to look up. First pitch to Logan Herring, foul. I mean, for you, that would be just kind of viewed as an outlier if you didn't know what happened, right? So maybe that's the same thing. But I doubt those systems are getting things wrong very much of the time. But it's a computer. It has hiccups, right? Just like anything else. Logan Herring already with a couple doubles. This is the guy you want at the plate in a tie game in what could be the last inning if they walk it off here. 0-2. A 2 RBI double back in the second, a part of that 3-run inning. And a double in the 5th, which was driven in later on, where they scored 4. And that is the run output so far for the Mammoths. They give Herring some extra space in right center field. Bagneski shading him to left. He's hit it there twice. Swing and a miss. Great sequence, quickly dispatching him there with the slider by Cole Stanton for the second out. So the Beavers play back-to-back days. That's something to remember here if this game continues to extend. They'll play tomorrow versus the Unicorns and play again on Sunday as well versus the Unicorns. And for a team that's lost their starting pitcher, one of their best in Malik Barrington, it could be a bit challenging navigating this week as Bauer looks at one low and away.
Yeah, I'm still in shock that one player from each team was just taken away from us all in one day.
It is kind of jarring.
Yeah.
But you love it for those guys. You relish the situation. That's all what this league is about, to try to move guys on to the next level. But for each of these managers, a bit challenging. We've already heard that Cole Gidley will start another game. He started a game here or there as a spot starter for Ed Campanella.
Stan has to be really careful. He wants to throw over to first.
Short lead right now for Navarro. This one a can of corn. Shortly just behind the second base bag. And Mercedes going to catch that one for the third out. We'll head to extras. After this, we'll see who pitches going forward. It might be a bit of a question mark for both of these teams.
Dunham Sports is a proud partner of the USPBL. Big names, low prices, delivering value since 1937.
To extra innings we go. It's important to know the scope of the rules, why it's considered extra innings as we head to the top of the ninth inning, but we're past the 2.5-hour time limits in this one. So before the top of the eighth, it was announced that would be the last inning, or half inning in that scenario, but the Beavers tied it up. The Mammoths could not scratch across a run after Norberto Navarro reached first with just one out. Snuck a beautiful bunt down the first base line, and we'll have our international tie-breaking run standing on second base. It's Keyshawn Lynch. He made the last out of the eighth inning, and that's not a bad guy to have out there who has some decent speed. Rogers will face LeBoy, Verdejo, and McFarland, brought to you by Zach Hart Agency. 2-3-4 in the lineup for the Beavers tonight. LeBoy has yet to extend what is a 6-game hitting streak, in which he came in to this game 10 for 20 in that 6-game stretch. He is 0 for 4 here tonight. This would be smooth fashion if he could do it to untie the game in the top of the ninth. 1-0, chiseled to the right. Might be a tough play. LeBoy, wow. What a nifty flip by Navarro over to first base. He can do it all.
That is such a difficult play. I remember playing as a kid, You know, you're always trying to be cool, trying to do glove flips with the ball, and it's just always getting stuck in there. You're squeezing too much.
Or you just kind of, it lands to your leg or something because it didn't go anywhere.
Or you just throw it like 3 feet off the 3 feet to the right of the location.
It advances Lynch to third base. I mean, there were so many factors on that play. Number one, he had to decide whether he was beer-handing it or gloving it. He did glove it, and you have to be perfect with the glove to make sure it does find your glove, given the situation. And on top of that, knew he had to quickly get it over to first base, and that was probably the only way he was getting the out.
Yeah, and if he missed the throw, if it was a bad throw,
right,
guy on third might have scored.
2-0 on Roy Verdejo. Infielders in. Big whiff and a miss. Oh, Caruso trying to snap through to third. That nearly backfired as McGee just able to get in front of it. 2-1 on Verdejo now. Middle of the infield, slightly outside the cut of the grass. The corner is touching it here. Chased another breaking ball there.
He was way in front of that one.
That slider seems to play up. He's only in there at 76, but
yeah, it seems, looking at the metrics, it just seems like a very tight slider. Doesn't break too much, but just enough to trick the hitters.
2-2, just trying to get some kind of piece. And even a swing like that, the outfielders, knowing the situation, are playing in as well, either to catch a short pop-up in that instance or try to gun down the runner charging from third, Keyshawn Lynch. But if that one has a bit more mustard on it, he could have snuck that in over the head of the infielders.
Yeah, Rogers just has Verdejo just all off balance this at bat. Throwing mid-80s and then just going down to 72 there.
The 2-2. Again, able to foul it off. Nobody warming up in either bullpen. I think they're hoping that Cole Stanton could work a second inning. He's done that a number of times this year, but after that, you wouldn't think he would come out for a third. There's the Mammoths. Nothing but watching going on there. That looked pretty good. Rogers wanted it. Instead, it's a 3-2 count. Another curveball. Second baseman has Navarro relaxing with 2 strikes. That's punched into the gap in left center. Keyshawn Lynch scores, and the Beavers are ahead for the first time in a long while.
Oh, he went with the high fastball there to end that bat, try to get him to strike out, and kind of backfired. He left it over the plate, and a lot of the times in the majors, you see guys striking out on these high fastballs. But Verdejo, good job getting that outside fastball and just hitting it right over shortstop's head, scoring that run, not striking out.
And maybe you'd think the way Verdejo, wasn't really on top of the stuff in that at-bat, at least to begin things, to Rogers. Maybe that was Rogers' mindset. I'm going to maybe get him to chase one above the belt buckle, but credit to Verdejo for sticking with the at-bat number 1 and punching in an RBI in the 9th. The Mammoths will get that same tie-breaking run rule at second base. It's Bauer who made the last out in the 8th.
Now the Beavers got one of the best hitters up, Travis McFarland, who's been a little cold past couple weeks. In the All-Star game, he had a home run stolen from him by Greg Vaughn Jr. It was robbed. A crazy catch by Greg Vaughn Jr.
Yeah, certainly probably the best catch we've seen up against the wall at least. 1-1 away. McFarland does have a double in this game back in the 7th. He drove in a run. That was part of this comeback for the Beavers. It just didn't feel like they would claw all the way back in this game after the Mammoths took that 7-3 advantage. They chipped in 1 in the 6th, 2 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th to tie the game, and now 1 in the 9th to untie it. Could there be more on the cards? It's looking that way, at least for now. A 3-1 count to one of their best hitters and only 1 out in the inning. Runner on first base here, Connor Begneski is on deck. That's not a guy you want to see in a scenario like this either. 3-1, trying to check his swing, and he did for another free pass. Begneski today, walk, run, walk, 2 stolen bases, ground out, double, RBI. That's a lot of production.
So he did get a hit.
He did, yes, and his last one in the 7th.
He extended his... He doesn't have a hitting streak, never mind. But he's gotten a hit in every game but 1 now.
Right.
He's gone on base in every game.
But that game, 3 walks.
Yeah.
As we talked about earlier.
Yeah. In every game with more than 2 at-bats.
So he has an on-base streak going of every game in his career, if you want to look at it that way. Strike 1 to Connor Begneski. Him and Frankie Lusker are going to be 2 guys to look at in terms of on-base streaks. I guess that's something we should be looking at more so with Luska. I know he's had a few games where he's gone over with the strikeouts, but looking to go opposite way that time. Bauer has to go a long way and going to need his Spidey skills to get into the bullpen for that one.
Poor Bauer. He looks like he's been working a lot today.
Sure has.
I think more than half those doubles were hit to the left field corner.
And I guess that's probably a good indication as he parks way back. You know, not unnormal for where a left fielder plays for a righty, but still a long way to run both ways, but indication that that knee's probably okay. Down the third base line, a tough one. McGee dives. Verdejo around the bag, and he's going to be tagged out. His momentum causing him to tumble there. And in the end, that's the difference between the bases loaded and only 1 out, and now first and second with 2 outs.
It was a great job by Spencer McGee over there at third just to get to that. You know, coming off of a lefty's bat that's going to have some weird spin. You know, it might have bounced weirdly, especially with how the grass and the dirt here works. But he got to it, and then getting up and realizing he doesn't have a play at first. He should just try to get this guy at third.
I'm not sure Verdejo realized that McGee picked that ball up because he was ready to turn around the third base bag. It wasn't even that he had trouble stopping.
Can you see what his third base coach was telling him?
I did not. Did you see?
I did not see either.
In the end, he had to get out of the way because Verdejo was charging towards him as McFarland heads to third base. So first and third with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 9th inning, or the top of the 9th. This is the difference of what could be some padding runs for the Beavers. Their closer will be on the mound for his 2nd inning of work in the bottom half. Runner moving to second. Mercedes lunging at that one for 2 strikes now.
Interesting pitch to swing out there. I think whoever's on first there, Connor, could have definitely stolen that bag. He's very fast, and he had a great jump, and it was a curveball at 76 miles per hour, which, you know, is really hard to get thrown out on.
Charging to second again, and that's off of Mercedes' leg that time.
Did Travis just run home?
He did. And he shares a few words of laughs with Caruso.
I think Campy's telling Nafy that, you know, Connor's trying to steal second. You know, if there's a pitch out of the zone, don't swing so he can get the second. Then there's only 1 force out at first base.
So the run that was granted because of the extra inning rule has scored. That's Keyshawn Lynch. A ground out by LeBoy to advance him to third. The single by Verdejo drove him in. Then the walk to McFarland and the single to Bagneski here. Stands at first, again cutting to second. And that doesn't matter as Mercedes K's for the second time tonight. The Beavers do edge ahead. Cole Stanton looking to gain them the victory in the bottom half of the 9th inning here today. Trent Bauer will be the base runner and representative at second base when we get back on the USPBL Network.
I'm all in with HR and Organizational Development Council.
I'm all in with Marketing and Business Development Council.
I'm all in with Operations and Member Experience Council.
I'm all in with CEO Council.
I'm all in with Lending Council.
I'm all in with CFO Council.
I'm all in with Technology Council.
Our credit union is all in with CUNA Councils.
Whenever my family wants to enjoy the great outdoors, we pack up my Chevy Blazer and go camping in style. It looks great, and with the cargo management system, we can bring all the comforts of home away from home. Plus, with available 4G LTE Wi-Fi, the kids can still stay connected with friends. Thanks to my Blazer, roughing it isn't rough at all.
Lease a 2021 Blazer 2 LT for just $219 a month. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
Welcome back, everyone, to Jimmy John's Field here in the bottom of the 9th. It's Lamar Briggs, Trevor McKinley, and Colton Horner, your Zach Hart Agency three-men due-up here in the 9th inning. Could be an interesting bottom of the 9th, again with that runner starting on second base. Trent Bauer, Matt Snyder joining us for extra innings here today. Jenna Rose down in the field getting ready for our Autolab postgame show. She'll catch up with our Rochester University player of the game. Stanton works his second inning of work here in the 9th. Came over in the 8th, allowed a bunt single to Norberto Navarro, then struck out Herring and got Bauer to pop up. So not outside of his realm to pitch a second inning, but even better since it was a fairly quick 8th inning in terms of pitches. It'd be interesting to see what the Unicorns bring tomorrow in terms of a starting pitcher. Hearing rumblings that for now, because Jordan Carr is gone, obviously their best starter to this point, they may have to go with some bullpen days and openers going forward, like we saw with Brandon Krenrich. He did a nice job yesterday, 6 up and 6 down.
Yeah, they have Miguel Sereno, too. I don't know when his next planned start is. But I think it was supposed to be Jordan Carr for tomorrow. He was the planned starter. I overheard his dad yesterday talking to Willie after game saying that he had bought front row tickets.
Oh, really?
To Friday's game. And then he finds out his son's going down to Florida.
Well, that's one occasion where you're happy about it, I guess, right?
You're happy about the loss of money.
No rain. No, I couldn't get to the ballpark for some reason. It's because your son was signed by the Minnesota Twins, a story he can tell for a long time, I'm sure. 1-1 on Lamar Briggs. Trent Bauer standing on second base. He was the last down in the 8th inning. We are technically in extra innings if you're wondering why they're starting that runner on second, because of the time limit that would have only allowed an 8th if this game was not tied. And don't count anybody out at this point, because you saw what happened in the top of the 9th. That run did score in Keyshawn Lynch. He was allowed second base. Roy Verdejo driving him in off a battle where he was overmatched at times, it seemed, versus Rogers, but the right swing at the right time, and the game was in the hands of the Beavers, at least for now. But some of the best hitters For the Mammoths looming here, Jalen Smith, also available off the bench if Taylor Jellikowski wants to use him here. He walked off a game last year. It's a messy scoreboard. 8 runs off 11 hits and 2 errors for the Beavers. 7 runs off 9 hits and no errors for the Mammoths. An important 1-2. Straightens up Lamar Briggs with the fastball at 90. Three-hour and 5-minute game, give or take, thus far. The 2-2. Change up away.
I was just thinking right before this inning that I haven't seen a home run, I don't think, in a while in this league. You know, we had so many in June.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of pitching is taken over.
3-2 low. Lamar Briggs works a big-time walk. The tying run now on the bases.
Seen a lot of doubles today.
Sure have, yeah. I mean, wouldn't be out of reach for this guy to hit it out of the park again. He had an unfortunate circumstance the other day when his home run was called back because the explanation on the call was he did not touch home plate. On further review, it looked like he kind of did. I mean, it's tough to tell without a angle that's right on home plate to see the foot hit the base.
Yeah, you just saw him. He talked to his coach there during the mound visit. Do you think his coach just said, hey, if you hit a home run, make sure you touch home plate?
Probably. But, man, I just don't think he'll ever have a scenario like that where he's not literally, like, stomping on it the rest of his career. Those kind of things will stick with you, I'm sure, as a player. The corner infielders will come in. The winning run on first base. Decent athletic speed for Lamar Briggs over there. He'll take a hearty lead with McFarland playing in front of him. First pitch to McKinley, slider in for strike one. Cole Stanton has given up a home run this year, just one of them. That was on his curveball. The only hit he's given up on the curve. The slider remains high, 1-1. McKinley today has reached base 2 times. Away, 2-1.
We're seeing a heavy dose of breaking balls this at-bat. 3 straight curveballs, I think. Might have been a slider in there, but, 3 straight breaking balls.
Which is kind of unorthodox for this arm. 2-1, tried to check his swing. It looks like he did. And that is confirmed, although Keyshawn Lynch doesn't quite agree. Actually, that's Mercedes at second now. He has switched with Keyshawn. Keyshawn going to shortstop. Ron Williams Jr. still at third. McFarland at first. McKinley way ahead. The 3-1 away. Back-to-back walks. Bauer to third. The winning run, Briggs to second. And this game getting all kinds of interesting here in the bottom of the ninth. And Ed Campanella is going to come out. I don't think he's had somebody warming up, though. Still nobody down there. He might send an arm that way as he brings the whole infield together here.
Then we have Colton Horner coming up, who's been pretty sneaky good so far this year. You hear about, everyone else on this offense, all of the guys who are lighting up, Trent Bauer, Logan Herring, Lamar Briggs. Colton Horner, I think he's top 5 in batting average in the league. I'm not totally sure, but he definitely is batting over 300. And he has another hit today.
He is 4th, according to your website that you made. Matt Snyder joining us here in Extra Innings, the analytics intern at the ballpark. Bases loaded, no outs, winning run on second base in an 8-7 game. And stepping out is Colton Horner. He trails Galassi, Juan Lopez Rios, and Bagneski, three really good hitters above him. Galassi leading the league in quite a few categories, or up there in the top 3 at least. 1-0, sprayed it foul. Horner has 1 home run this year.
I don't think we've had a grand slam yet this year, have we?
Not that comes to mind. 1-1 in for strike 2. Adam De La Cruz had a big-time grand slam last year in the playoffs. The home run for Horner did come off a righty. He hits .263 versus righties. 1-2 low, much higher versus lefties, and a few more limited at bats. Obviously, 11 bats versus lefties, 19 at bats versus righties, but .455 clip, 5 for 11 against lefties so far. Infielders are in with no outs. The 2-2. Wow, just staying alive to the next degree. One of the better fastballs tonight from Stanton at 91.
Yeah, you can tell he's just trying to throw strikes. Doesn't want to walk another guy. Was it 2 straight walks start the inning? Can't walk in the tying run. You got to give your defense a chance to help you out.
The even pitch again. Sprayed to right. LeBoy was playing in. He has to go back. They're going to look to tag up maybe. Yes, coming home is Bauer. He will score. That throw is errant, my goodness. Ron Williams Jr. with the backup. But regardless, we are tied again. The runner, which started this inning because of the extra inning rules, comes around to score. Both have. Bauer here in the bottom of the 9th, Lynch in the top of the 9th, and now the game-winning run still standing at second with only 1 out. Adrian Guzman 2 for 3 last game. He's reached base a couple more times tonight. Error in the 5th by Mercedes allowed him to reach. That actually scored 2 runs as well. Huge inning for the Mammoths at that point, extending their lead from 5-3 to 7-3. Also had a walk and a run scored in the 2nd. Everybody playing very shallow in the outfield right now. 0-1 in for strike 2. 0-2 on Guzman, including Bagneski in center field. Here's a look. Guzman does love to go to center. 50% of his hits have gone that direction. There you are. Fly ball to left center field. Briggs will tag, but no advance. And Spencer McGee, some more power, is up to try to untie this game. Looks like we would have another extra inning as there's a pitcher tuning up in the Mammoths bullpen, Colin Ledbetter. That's actually an arm we thought we might see here today before Rogers. We knew we'd see Hancock, who came in to relieve Lokinen, the starting pitcher again here tonight. Slider in for strike 1 on McGee. Lokinen tonight going 5 innings. Walks coming back to bite him in the 2nd. All 3 walks scoring. But other than that, he was really able to settle things down in innings 3, 4, and 5. Just a single base runner in each frame there.
And he kept his strikeout numbers up, right?
He did. 6 strikeouts again here tonight. So he won't probably be entirely happy with the outing, given that he fell behind hitters. That's been something he's been trying to work on lately, but something to work off of, certainly, for Lokinen. Here's a huge pitch from Stanton with the winning run on second. The 0-2 slider just getting a piece is Spencer McGee. I wonder if we may see Jalen Smith to replace either Nick Caruso or Navarro. 8-9 after McGee here. He's hitting 7th tonight. Looks like Caruso is still on deck. Here's the 0-2. Checked it. Did he go? The appeal says no. Every pitch, a pressure pitch, kind of in these extra inning rules. Because you start with the runner on second base, and it just feels like this inning has been hanging on a thread for Cole Stinn after he walked Lamar Briggs and then walked McKinley.
Yeah, leverage is something that's used a lot when analyzing, Major League Baseball data. And coming into...
Ooh, called strike 3 at the top of the zone, and Spencer McGee thought that one might be a little high. A leverage in terms of, is a guy throwing 10 pitches, but if it's in a high leverage situation, it's going to add up to more than that and taxing on the arm. Well, we continue in this game. We go to the 10th. Don't say that too often here in the USPBL. Colin Ledbetter likely coming in for the Mammoths when we get back here on the USPBL Network.
As your neighbor who works at Ascension, Michigan, and a cardiologist who's practiced for more than 20 years, I'm going to keep asking, how are you feeling today? Your care can't wait. Getting care sooner can mean catching things before they get worse. At Ascension, Michigan, our ERs and our hospitals and other sites of care are maintaining strict precautions for your safety. Studies have shown that people will get care sooner if they're encouraged by their doctors, family, and friends. Get the care you need at getascensionmichigancare.com.
I'm all out of love for my old insurance. Switch to insurance. They're saving me so much. They covered my car and bundled with my home. I feel so secure to say I love insurance.
Hello, AAA Insurance.
Goodbye, insurance. Hello.
Insurance.
Get a quote and save up to 20%.
Colin Ledbetter back on the mound here for the Mammoths. It's the 4th arm used, and now 10 innings of work when you add together this one. Lokinen, Hancock, Rogers, and now Ledbetter. And not only are we doing extra innings, the players doing extra innings, but the Caribbean Blue Band still rocking out, earning their pay in right center field in the Michigan Schools and Government Credit Union soundstage out there. It'll be Ron Williams Jr., Collier Rutledge, and Austin Shoemaker, the scheduled 3 for the Beavers here in the 10th. Nephi Mercedes will be the tie-breaking run at second base. So the Arizona native will see some more time here in high leverage situation. I don't think we tracked that here, Matt, but it would have been interesting to see how many high leverage pitches, or however they quantify it analytically, that Jack Ferguson had the other day. And that was against the Beavers in game 2, I think, of the doubleheader, or was it game 1? Either way, he faced 3 runners on third base, obviously 2 innings in a row with the runner starting on second base. And for a guy normally who only throws 1, max 2 innings out of the bullpen from that submarine angle, he earned his keep.
Yeah, I do believe that was the second game last Saturday.
First pitch to Ron Williams Jr. inside, and that's going to advance Mercedes to third. Thinks about rounding the bag, but Caruso able to get to that ball quickly to his right.
Not often you see a catcher drop a fastball like that.
I think it was crossed up.
Might have been, because when I first saw it, I thought it was a breaking ball. And I saw the speed on it. I was like, that's not a breaking ball. There's surprised he got, he dropped it and it got away from him that far.
Yeah, the slider usually around 79 for Ledbetter. It's pretty much just fastball slider for him. Fastball 62% of the time. The slider at 37% in terms of usage. The 2-0 off the glove again, and Mercedes is going to stay there.
Another fastball.
2-0 on Ron Williams Jr. He's walked back in the second, struck out in the fourth, drove in a run off his RBI single in the sixth, and also was hit by a pitch in the eighth and came around to score. Ledbetter out of Campbellsville University. Well traveled in college, started at Glendale, then went to Indiana Wesleyan, and ended his career at Campbellsville. We've only seen that changeup 2% of the time this year for Ledbetter. One of the things that he mentioned to me while entering the league, really wanted to get more comfortable with it as he's changed the grip over the last few years. The 3-0. Fly ball to center field. Keep in mind Briggs playing in. Has to go back just below the flagpole, and this will easily score Nafi Mercedes to tie the game at 8. Or 2. What am I saying here? To give the Beavers the lead, 9-8.
No, I don't think we've had a 4-hit game yet this season. I don't know if you remember any specifically, but, Rutledge coming up here with 3 hits already.
Yeah, at the top of my head, I can't say for sure. Drew Galassi would be the only guy who comes to mind that maybe did it, but I mean, it's not often that guys get 4 at-bats for several reasons, especially at the beginning of the year because we were playing 7 innings for a good month, and then we went to kind of the separate system for each day. So Wednesday through Friday, usually 9 innings with the 2.5 rule in place. Saturday, almost always double headers. Been that way since June, but those are 2 6-inning games. And Sundays, 7-inning contests. 0-2, wicked slider for strike 3.
So I actually looked it up, and we have not had a 4-hit game yet.
We have not, okay.
And doesn't look like we're going to have one today. He was crossed up on that slider.
Interesting. Not sure why that's been the case here today. Haven't really seen that from Caruso to any other pitcher. Austin Shoemaker walked back in the 5th, struck out here in the 8th. Takes a big hack at the fastball at 89. Ledbetter used to be a two-way player even in college for quite some time. Ended up having surgery after JUCO. And said at that point kind of his best case scenario to just stick with pitching. 0-2 away, 1-2, but was an infielder in junior college. Was an all-state hitter at third base in high school as well. Here's the 1-2. The sinker in. 2-2 on Austin Shoemaker now. He hit into a 4-6-3 double play and is at bat in the 7th. That was big time for the Mammoths defense at that point. Inning they could have gone further, and there's 2 strikeouts back-to-back for Colin Ledbetter in the 10th. 2 balls that got away, advanced that runner to second base, nearly sent him home. And in the end, it's the sac fly by Ron Williams Jr. that untied this game. Can the Mammoths do it again? We head to the bottom of the 10th inning. Caruso, Navarro, and Herring. Your Zach Hart agency men do up when we get back.
When people keep repeating that you'll never fall in love, when everybody keeps retreating, but you can't seem to get enough, let my love open the door. Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door to your heart, to your heart.
We joined Green Path and instantly felt a support around us.
They developed a plan on paper, and this is how we're going to do it.
The plan that they gave me was something that was sustainable. It was something I could do. It was actually lowering my payments monthly by hundreds of dollars.
Choosing Green Path is a no-brainer.
Well, for the second time today, a pitcher will look for a save. This time it's Jake Kinney, another former affiliate player of the Philadelphia Phillies. Kinney will participate in his 5th outing. Also has 1 start to his credit, 6 2/3 innings of work. That start just a 2-inning opener performance back on the 11th of July versus the Mammoths. Coleman, Donovan, Stanton, and now Kinney here in the 10th inning. It feels like an eternity ago that even A.J. Coleman was out on the mound. Ended his outing in the middle of the 5th.
Yeah, Jake Kinney's thrown almost all four-seam fastball this year so far in his limited outings. But it'll be interesting to see if he, gets more confident with that off speed and that breaking ball and throws that more. Also, I think I noticed on our screen that there's now 2 errors on the Beavers.
Yeah, I did notice that too.
So I think the 3rd error they might have taken away. I thought it was a single.
I agree.
And
so who would that have been to?
Whichever was the most recent error.
That would have been back in the 6th to Bauer. So Bauer credited with a single. And now Nick Caruso will try to lead things off with Spencer McGee on second base. He was the last out in the 9th inning. And Matt mentioned it, mostly fastball for Kinney as he runs that one in at 90. Over 80% of the time in his outings thus far. He's topped out at 93.
Yeah, Nick Cruz looked really aggressive on that first swing.
And 93 is actually his career best as well. He's tinkered with a lot of his pitch grips and pitch selection. Talk about his journey before, but a guy that was originally supposed to come to the USPBL after getting cut from affiliate ball in January. But he sprained his ankle pretty badly in April. Even thought his career might be over at that point. The 0-2. Whittled right back to Kinney. He checks the runner. Tosses it over to first. That's for the first out. If he does notch the save here today, it would be his first of his USPBL career. Do a quick check and see if he did it at all in the minor leagues.
That was another pitch that was high inside and out of the zone. And you know the fastball is coming. You know you want to get that nice swing on it, drive it really far. But, you know, when it's out of the zone, it's going to be a hard thing to get your barrel on, especially on a fastball, you know, inside.
First pitch to Navarro way away, and now McGee heading to third base. Second time we've seen a pitch go away, and in the end it helped lead to the lone run by the Beavers in the top of the 10th. That's why they lead at 9-8 right now. So for a guy in Kinney that pitched a couple of years in the Phillies organization, he's still pretty young, 24 years old, all things considered. Often guys circle back to the independents when they're 25, 26, trying to make one last run at it. Last played for the Williamsport Crosscutters in low A ball.
Did you know the name of that team off the top of your head? Because I see there it just says Williamsport.
I've seen it before.
Okay.
I've seen it before. I think specifically, you know, when I looked back at Kinney. I've heard the name before.
Okay.
But it's a cool one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a very interesting name. It's something it's unlike anything I've ever heard. So I was surprised you knew that off the top of your head.
At Williamsport, the same place that the Little League World Series is played as well. Same town.
Are they doing that this year?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think so.
It would start soon.
Yeah, I know my nephew, he made what was an all-star team in his Little League, but he wasn't in the same age group that the Little League World Series would be in, but it sounded like he was playing a similar tournament to kind of lead up to that. If you win, you know, you go past your district and your region, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, it looks like they will be playing it this year. It will only be American teams, so no international teams. Yeah.
Okay.
Because of the COVID restrictions still going on.
Yeah. Well, that takes a little bit of the fun away, but still.
Yeah.
First pitch to Herring, low, and that's a good decision by Austin Shoemaker with the tying run lurking at third base. Now the winning run stands on second base. That's not the only time we've said that here in the last couple innings.
You also got rid of the double play to end the inning there. So winning run on second and no double play. It's a huge stolen base.
1-0 outside, 2-0. Kinney has struggled with his fastball command. In the last couple batters here, he got Caruso on a ground ball that advanced McGee. Or no, that did not advance McGee. It was the wild pitch that did to third base. Infielders are in once again. Line drive to left field. Verdejo won't get that one. The winning run coming behind. He will score. Norberto Navarro triggers the stream out of the dugout. What a wild game here tonight.
Look at the Gatorade going out there.
The whole wheeling cooler going on. Mostly ice, it looks like.
Oh, it's going to be a mess to clean up, but it was worth it.
Ay. Well, quite the wild game here tonight. Both teams with a chance to win it on separate occasions. But Logan Herring, how about Logan Herring here today? We've talked about his resurgence and what he's been able to do lately. A guy that thought his baseball career was over. He didn't think he had a shot at professional baseball. Took a month off. Got a call from the USPBL and Taylor Jellikowski. He drives in the winning run here today. Hits 2 doubles. Drives in 2 other runs. Back in the second inning. He's going to be a fun guy to watch in the left-hander's batter's box going forward as the Mammoths steal one away from the Beavers on a couple occasions here tonight. Several leads for the Beavers could not be held. 10-9 your final score. Our Auto Lab postgame show coming up next. In a little bit, Jenna Rose will catch up with our Rochester University player of the game. Stick with us on the USPBL Network.
New flooring from the Carpet Guys is as easy as 1, 2, free. 1, just call the Carpet Guys for fast, free, and home shopping. 2, get massive warehouse direct savings. And 3, I mean free, as in 4 years of interest-free financing. That's 1, 2, free, but only for a limited time. So be wise and call the Carpet Guys at 855-4MY-GUYS or visit carpetguys.com today.
Be wise, call the Carpet Guys at 855-4MY-GUYS.
At Fifth Third Bank, we're working hard to make banking a Fifth Third better, which means we put 166.7% into everything we do.
I think you can only give 110%.
Well, with free checking, fraud protection services, and an automatic savings tool to help you quickly reach your goals, 166.7% is possible.
Oh, wait till my 8th graders hear about this. They're gonna be like, it's not possible. Well, yes it is.
This is banking, a Fifth Third better.
Times are tough right now. It feels like the bottom of the ninth and we're down by 2. But we've seen tough times before. And just like baseball has always been more than just a game, Chief Financial Credit Union is more than money. So it might be the bottom of the ninth, but we're the home team, and we've got runners on base. Batter up, America. It's time to play ball.
First State Bank is a locally owned and operated business. We're part of your community. At fsbcares.com, you'll find ways that we're making a difference by featuring locally owned and operated businesses, providing access to helpful financial resources, and engaging with community. fsbcares.com is part of our commitment to the neighborhood, because strong neighbors mean stronger communities.
Where good neighbors do great things.
Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
As your neighbor who works at Ascension, Michigan, and a cardiologist who's practiced for more than 20 years, I'm going to keep asking, how are you feeling today? Your care can't wait. Getting care sooner can mean catching things before they get worse. At Ascension, Michigan, our ERs and our hospitals and other sites of care are maintaining strict precautions for your safety. Studies have shown that people will get care sooner if they're encouraged by their doctors, family, and friends. Get the care you need at getascensionmichigancare.com.
Dunham Sports is a proud partner of the USPBL. Big names, low prices, delivering value since 1937.
Only at your Chevrolet certified service dealer do you get tires engineered specifically for your vehicle and a price match guarantee. With our tire price match guarantee, if you find a better price within 30 days of purchase, we'll refund the difference. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
Make your move with a quick and easy mortgage from Genesis Credit Union. We have mortgages to fit your life. Genesis Credit Union. Visit us today.
Whenever my family wants to enjoy the great outdoors, we pack up my Chevy Blazer and go camping in style. It looks great, and with the cargo management system, we can bring all the comforts of home away from home. Plus, with available 4G LTE Wi-Fi, the kids can still stay connected with friends. Thanks to my Blazer, roughing it isn't rough at all.
Lease a 2021 Blazer 2 LT for just $219 a month. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
Hey everyone, welcome to our Auto Lab post-game show. We are now joined by Westside Woolly Mammoths first baseman Logan Herring, who is our Rochester University player of the game. Long night, right? We go into extra innings. You guys win it 10-9 against the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers, but we've got to dial it back. Tied at 3 apiece in the second inning. You guys are able to take the lead, but the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers came back. What were the frustrations building up to that moment?
Honestly, they were just a good club, and we were just stringing some good hits together, and we were getting some good barrels, but they were just catching them, honestly. They were catching the right breaks at the right time, and I mean, that's just baseball. That's just how it goes.
Absolutely, and you had a great day at the plate today. You had a pair of doubles. You drove in for what was working for you, and what were you seeing every time you stepped into the box?
Jelly and I have been working on my swing. I took a month off from college ball to now, so it's just like I'm trying to get back into the adjustment of playing again and stuff, and I'm starting to feel my swing again. It's feeling really good, and it showed today. It felt really good.
And finally, as we go into the latter stages of the game, you're up to bat. Walk me through the feelings when you guys are going into extra innings. You guys have the international tiebreaker rule in place. Does that add extra pressure for you as the batter?
Honestly, I think it's the complete opposite. You already have a guy on second base, with no outs. It's just different. You just got to put the ball in play, and it's just timely hitting when it comes to that specific rule that they do in extras.
And what does that say about the Westside Woolly Mammoths to be able to string together those hits and to officially win this one?
All I got to say is look out, the Mammoths are hot. We're coming.
All right, the Mammoths are hot. You heard it here first. Thank you for joining us on the Auto Lab postgame show. We'll see you next time.